The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
The 80s, again, that will come with at least isolated chances of showers and storms, but overall, I know I will be pulling the shorts out next week. No, I'm not taking my shorts off. Don't worry about that.
Coming up next,
Let's take a live look through the steamship grill harbor cam. The Coho is back, arriving from Port Angeles with another boatload of a boatload of tourists.
Great time to go out the door right now and take a dump, or take a dip.
No.
And take a jump in.
All right. Take a dump where?
Well, Jade and Kristen, with triple digits expected tomorrow, we may see scenes even more like this. People trying to beat the heat and trying to stay cool. And tomorrow, and people.
All right, Mike. So, are we gonna have some barbecue weather, or
you're gonna have some wet meat out there?
Oh, no. Actually disgusting.
You know it. Oh, that's gross.
Showtime.
She's time to get her going again.
That time already, huh?
Right here on the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Thanks so much for being there for us. Yeah, it is time. It's Tuesday morning, don't you know? Day 2 of our F-off week. How's it going, old Cubby?
I don't know. I've kind of been wasting it. I haven't really done too much so far this week. If I need some ideas, what should I do?
Well, wait a minute. F-off week is about doing very little.
Oh, in that case, I'm crushing it. I had it backwards.
Yeah, you had this.
I haven't felt productive at all.
You had the wrong idea. You had the wrong idea behind what F-off week is all about. All right, yeah,
you guys
you're
will
good.
always be there for me.
Well, yeah, we'll straighten you out one way or the other.
Then I might be the most productive, unproductive person on the program. I've accomplished next to nothing this week.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I win.
Proud of you.
Dick Bremer will be our special guest at 7:30 this morning to talk Twins baseball. Every Tuesday morning, we get the honor of talking Twins with the finest baseball play-by-play man in the damn business.
We feel very lucky to have him join us every week.
Looking forward to jaw-jacking with Dick Bremer.
Does he kind of feel like Minnesota's grandpa?
A little bit.
You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
I can
He's
get down
kind
with
of like a Mr. Rogers character almost. Just he makes you just feel better listening to him or even looking at him.
It's always there for you, you know.
He sends me a check for $5 every birthday.
He does that for everyone in the state.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, the man's just rich.
He's making a lot of money.
Yep, and then he just gives it all back.
You want to make any kind of a prediction, Josh, on when we have him on at 7:30? Should I bring up the idea of Dick being Minnesota's grandpa? And you want to, I mean, how do you think he'd react to that?
I don't know. I think he'd either really enjoy that or not, like, because I know a woman who's a wonderful grandma, but she refuses to be called grandma because it makes her feel old, even though she's of the age. She does not.
I can see him definitely being like, what, you call me old?
By definition, this lady that Josh is talking about probably is a grandma.
She is a grandma.
Yeah, he said that already.
Yeah, she's a grandmother, and she's of what you'd consider grandmother age, but she refuses to let her grandchildren call her grandma.
What do they call her then?
Nana,
okay.
Or her first name.
I wonder how Dick Bremer would react to being called Minnesota's grandpa. To hear from Josh that, you know, that's kind of the role he plays. Maybe we'll ask him later.
Well, I don't want to ask him now. I thought it was a compliment. Now you guys are shaking the foundation for which I provided.
Maybe you
I don't even know what I'm saying. Like I said, it's been unproductive.
He'd take it as a compliment, but he's definitely going to give us some crap about it
Now
still.
you guys are shaking the foundation of the... I don't know.
Yeah, see, someone here says, Dick Bremer is our grandpa, and Randy Shaver's kind of like the creepy uncle.
A little bit. We'll talk to Randy, too, a little later. He's on his ball and chain All-American road trip this summer. He and the wife are just speeding off in all different directions, and every day Randy's going to give us a new update.
That gives us fun Randy. When he's on vacation, when he's not dealing with TV stuff, he's fun Randy.
Right. It's sad but true that the guy's got to be out of town and on vacation for us to get his upbeat side. But that's the way it's always been. Randy, the creepy uncle, fair enough. But I get what you're saying about Dick Bremer. There's something about his voice, just he as a person. There's something comforting about it. It's tough to explain. Can anybody help me out? Because it sounds like we all collectively have the same idea. Hearing Dick Bremer call a Twins game is just...
It's calming.
Yeah.
Soothing.
Well,
there's something more to that, though. I'm having a hard time getting the words out.
Comforting would be the best way to describe it. It reminds me of like my childhood in a way. Makes me feel safe.
It's beyond that, you know.
It's like a Mr. Rogers thing.
Yeah,
for me.
I mean, that was a
how
good way
I felt
to put
as
it.
a little kid watching Mr. Rogers. Like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's beyond comforting and soothing and calming. And you guys you're doing your best to help me out. I can't quite put it into words, but he is that character. However,
and baseball might have something to do with it as well. Like Tonka TIG Welding Jesus said, I don't have a grandpa anymore, but hearing him talk about baseball all the time reminds me of the times my grandpa would talk baseball with me. And it's not just, asking him. He has a story for everything.
He does.
You'd be like, hey, did you see this Twins game? Well, I remember it was an unusually warm day. And the Twins just got off a road trip, and I was in the duck. He always has something, and he's able to eloquently say what's on his mind and tell you a story. He doesn't just answer the question. It's perfect what he does. We're very lucky.
7:30, he'll be calling in from Atlanta, Georgia. There you go. Maybe we'll throw some of these ideas at him, and maybe it'll piss him off. Maybe he'll find it very endearing. We'll get there. You folks like to go on out and shop summers?
I do not.
From time to time?
I actually hate shopping.
Where was the last place any of you went for shopping? For me, it was Target. They call it Target in Medina.
Fleet Farm, Lakeville.
Nice.
All right, Fleet Farm.
I think Target's pretty much the only store I really go to.
Sure.
On a regular basis, at least.
Yeah.
Home Depot.
Okay. Smashly.
I go shopping quite a bit. It has to be either Target or Walmart.
Wait, I missed one. Yesterday, I went to Hot Topic to look for some new. I wanted look for some new. I got
nipple rings.
Yeah, I got some fresh
those
piercings.
glow in the dark ones.
I have some fresh.
Yeah, I was gonna say a fishnet tank top.
No, it was Target. Now, when you walk on into these places like that, do you often or ever get the urge to make a deuce?
Can't think of
No.
one time.
Can't think of one time,
No.
says Josh.
But then again, like I said, I really hate shop. I'd rather sit in the car while my wife does it.
There are some places that I enjoy walking around, others that I do not. You don't want to go into any place.
Pretty much no place. But if it's like like I said, a Fleet Farm, Menards, Home Depot, Best Buy, something like that, I'll go into those stores.
Those are fun places.
Mm-hmm. But I'm solo on that. I mean, my wife and family have no interest in those.
So nobody, it doesn't click.
I do, actually. Anytime I'm in a Barnes & Noble, I have to take a dump.
Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
It's been like that since I was a kid.
Is it because of there's reading material everywhere?
I don't know what it is, but anytime, and I go to the Barnes & Noble. There's one in my neighborhood. I go to it frequently. And anytime I'm in there, I immediately have to go to the bathroom. It's beyond bizarre. I don't know why. I don't know how, but it's a thing that I've known. It's become so much of a thing that I notice it each time. I'm like, well, yep, here we go.
I wish I had that because I could use it. I mean, honestly, if Target did that for me, I would go to Target once or twice every day.
Just walking around waiting. Oh, here we go.
Oh, hey, Josh, what's up? Usual stall? Yeah, I'll be in and out of here in before you know it.
Are you having trouble with constipation lately?
Last few years, yeah.
Oh, I mean, like in the last handful. I know you've.
It hasn't gone away, unfortunately.
I know you've had troubles over the last 3 years. I meant specifically, was yesterday difficult for you more than usual?
Well, nothing happened.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I haven't had to go get it in a while, but which is good. I can't get this thing figured out.
If you're new to the program, we talk a lot of constipation because there are a couple members of the staff here who suffer terribly. Okay, Dana, you're not alone, and I didn't expect to have a conversation like this morning. I'd never heard of something like this or thought of anything like this before. There's conversation going on online about places like TJ Maxx and Target having a laxative effect. And two of the examples they used there, like I said, TJ Maxx and Target. A TikTok video went round and round. That's what they do. You just keep going round and round.
Yeah.
What movie? What was that Jim Carrey movie? Someone's 651-989-9393. They just keep going round and round. Round and round. What movie was that? He's the guy.
I don't recognize
He's in a TV show and he doesn't
Truman
know.
Show.
Truman Show.
Yep.
All right.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
There's a video going around where a woman walks into a TJ Maxx and suddenly she has to cut a deuce. Okay.
All right.
This is the video. People are talking about it. And this woman probably didn't expect this, but the commenters, the other TikTok people, said, hey, I can relate to that. And suddenly there are thousands of comments about the laxative effect of stores like these. TJ Maxx, Target, yes?
It makes sense.
How does it make sense?
Because I immediately kind of get like an anxious, weird feeling in my stomach, especially at TJ Maxx because they kind of have stuff like everywhere.
You know, that's true. That and Marshall's, that's where my wife and kids would shop, right? TJ Maxx, my stepdaughter loves TJ Maxx.
Okay.
But yeah, I get confused too when going into those
So
things.
you're saying it's like it's an anxious feeling because, oh my God, there's so much to see? Is that what you're saying, Ashley? And it gives you a feeling in your stomach?
Yeah, kind of like butterflies in a way, yeah.
Have you ever been to a Hobby Lobby?
Oh, yeah. I get so excited to go to Hobby Lobby.
There's just stuff.
I wish we had a how do you call it
a TV show,
a television camera
for what just happened to Ashley.
If any of you have ever watched, if any of you have ever watched Family Guy. You know when little Stewie gets really excited, sometimes he flaps his hands? Stewie, right? The little baby? Did I get the right character?
Yeah.
Ashley just did that exact physical motion when Wapple said Hobby Lobby. Did you see that, John?
Oh, yeah.
It was hard to miss.
That was very animated.
I love that place.
Like on Family Guy, sometimes Stewie goes, woo, and he gets really excited and he flaps his little...
That's exactly what Ashley just did.
So Ashley, what you were just saying is almost echoed here in this article. You're not out of your mind. You're not alone. Neither one of you is. Dana says, I walk into the bookstore, I got to take a dump. Ashley says, I walk into this joint, my stomach feels funny, this and that. Okay.
Dirtwork Jesus said anytime he goes to his father-in-law's, he has to drop an upper decker.
Oh, no.
I'm going to guess they don't get along.
So here are the stores that are mentioned. TJ Maxx, Target, Ross? What's Ross? Anyone?
It's like a Marshall's.
Okay, Barnes & Noble.
Do we have that here?
I think it's out west.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you just say Barnes & Noble, Dana?
Yep, that's mine.
Macy's, Home Goods, and Michael's are some that got mentioned pretty often in this conversation about when you just walk into a store, you automatically gotta cut a turd. Why is this happening? Especially when we hear so often, don't we, Josh, that a lot of people try to avoid public bathrooms.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. If I have to go number two, I'd prefer a public bathroom, actually.
Really? As opposed to your own?
Yeah, just more room. I don't know. Freedom.
That's interesting.
I don't think I've ever taken a deuce in a big box store like that.
Really? What?
I honestly don't think I have. I don't even know if I've gone to the bathroom in one of them.
Well, see, you're different.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not so different. Well, I mean, you're
I can't recall.
You're a regular
one time.
guy, I guess. You're regular.
I haven't called one. Yeah. But I haven't recalled one time where I went to the bathroom in a store.
You should try it out.
I've had so many stomach issues since I was a young kid. I was more or less raised in a public bathroom. But let me continue on now. The theories on why this is happening. Some say it's the adrenaline rush of being in their favorite store. Now, when you did your over there, Ashley, that's kind of the rush you get when you, what was the name of the store?
Hobby Lobby.
When you walk into a Hobby Lobby?
Oh, yeah.
You get an adrenaline rush. You get very excited.
Very excited. Pumped.
Others say, I have no experience with this. Others say it's coffee. Oftentimes people are sipping on coffee while they're shopping.
They walk in to a Target, grab some Starbucks, and browse.
Oh, yeah. I love doing that.
You ever had to ditch the cart somewhere to go back to the bathroom?
No, I haven't had to do that.
Yes, somewhere's around 300 or 400 times in my life.
Great, I got all this ice cream, and now I need to hide my cart somewhere.
Dana, you have no idea how many times I've had a half a cart full of whatever it is, and I've had to try to hide it in a place because the staff at some joints will come around and see an unattended cart and put everything back.
Yes, dude. Yes, they do.
So I have done this hundreds and hundreds of times where I walk into a joint and I have to, for Christ's sake, I got to hit the head. But I'm chalking it more up to just my natural stomach issues over the years. But maybe now that I'm reading this, maybe it's some kind of excitement that I don't think so for my own personal self. I think it's just because I have usually if I find myself shopping at a store, it's a Saturday or Sunday. Well, what did I do the prior night? Drank and ate, lots of beer and a lot of terrible food. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm chalking mine up to, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, and it probably never hits you right when you walk in the store. It's always when your cart's half full, you're almost done, and then you're like, oh, great.
Well, it hits me at any time, Wapple. There's no rhyme or reason. It's all different times. Sometimes right when I'm paying. Did I ever tell you about the time when I was getting a haircut?
Oh no. Boy. That would be brutal.
Ooh.
Did you end up stopping it?
No.
Oh, you fought.
I'm sitting there waiting for someone to give me one of those haircuts. And it finally was my turn. One of those joints where there's like a couple of friggin' stupid kids waiting and this and that. I'm like fifth in line. Finally, my turn comes. I sit down in the chair and just boom.
I had that happen once, too.
Dude, it's on, and it's on now. But I'm in this tiny little joint. There's no escape. There is a bathroom. But if I go in there, they're like, you know how it is at some of those joints, Josh? They're just really lightly, quietly playing KS95 over the friggin'. No one's talking to each other aside from the very small talk that the barber or stylist might give you. What are you up to today? No, it's silent. And I know I'd rather sit there and battle this than go in there and unleash the fury. Because I'm going to be the laughing stock of this friggin' joint. 9 times out of 10, that doesn't bother me. But in this case, I just thought, I can't do it to these poor people.
I'm surprised you held back. Usually, that's not your usual style.
You're right, but it's all women and a couple of little kids. I just didn't want to be that guy. Not in this situation. So I'm sitting there and I'm fighting it. And the lady is slowly cutting what's left of my hair. I'm pouring sweat now. After a while, I turned sheet white and I'm pouring sweat. And the lady that was cutting my hair stopped and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just not feeling it." And what I wanted to say was, "Hurry up and cut my freaking hair, please, so I can get out." I was... I
had the same exact situation.
Only a block from my home, so when it was over, I pinned...
Oh, that helps.
I pinned the accelerator. What was your situation?
The exact same thing. I held it too because the bathroom was essentially right next to the chair. Within a couple of feet.
Someone's just laying back, hitting their
Close
hair,
enough where you had to walk sideways to get between the chair and the door, and it would have been completely obvious what was going on.
There are a few exceptions to my normal rule is hell. Put a hat in the middle of the room. If I gotta go, I'll go in it, right? But there are certain bars and restaurants, and like this barber shop, I just couldn't put the other patrons through it. So back to this. A lot of us, when we walk into a store, we automatically have to hit the head, and it's a number 2 skis. So some say it's adrenaline from being in your favorite store. Some think it's because folks are drinking coffee. Some say it might have to do with all the walking. Okay, that'll shake it loose for some of us, or fluorescent lights. I don't know anything about what's behind the idea of fluorescent lights causing you to go to the bathroom.
I'm just glad I'm not alone in this. I always thought that was like a weird thing that I had. I'm glad that other people experience this phenomenon as well.
Dana, you name a store, I have fouled their restroom.
Refinery electrician Jesus said he has a serious phobia to go number 2 in public. Absolute fire emergency only. He'll just turn it into muscle until he gets home, is what he said.
Turn it into muscle. Good for you, dude, that you can have that option.
The super fitter Jesus said, I don't know, have my voice there. I've come to the conclusion that every store I walk into that has fluorescent lights, I have to go number 2 immediately.
Okay. There's no explanation here for what fluorescent lights have to do with it. But some other possible theories: a surge in emotion, anxiety, excitement, overstimulation. I guess we already kind of covered that. Tension. The tension of being on a shopping, you're tasked with buying certain items. I got to get a set of shorts. I got to get some flip-flops. Oh, I got all this stuff to do. There's tension involved there, and that might get your digestive tract moving. So there you go. Weird, huh?
Yeah.
But, like I said, this isn't something that I've ever really thought about. Maybe it's not that weird, you know.
Josh, you got a Barnes & Noble in Eagan. You should pop in there this afternoon and see if you can't get something moving for you.
I could try. I mean, like I said, I don't have that. I've been to Barnes & Noble. Never had that. I've been to the... I guess maybe the library's done that to me a couple of times.
Has it? All right.
Well, it was... No, because it was... Now that I think about it, I stopped there specifically for that as I was driving by the library. Twice. That's happened to me 2 times where I thought, I better stop.
Twice. Better pop in this Dakota County Library right now.
Yeah, I got to hit this thing.
I know who's got a bathroom.
Yeah, I like the bathroom there. Yeah, so, that has happened to me twice. But it didn't, like when I walked in, it didn't happen, unfortunately.
They should make a little like cart corral now at Targets or Walmarts and places if you have to go to the bathroom. You know, it's got a little refrigeration system. You push it in there, it keeps everything cold.
I hear what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Or like a mailbox flag, but it's like a poop sign.
You put the poop flag up.
Just a little poop emoji on it.
So everyone knows, hey, this guy's in the bathroom.
Maybe
a
brown spinning light, like an old-timey cop light. McCrossan operator Jesus said he's here to tell us the Holiday gas station on Highway 13 in Savage has become his second home for going number 2.
You got to do what you got to do. A lot of us don't have a choice. Those of you who can choose, that is so fascinating to me, you know. And I've told you about buddies of mine who can pretty much choose when they go.
That's so crazy.
They will sit in the old days when we were young, we'd sit in a fish house all weekend, you know, the overnight fish houses. We never had one of our own that we could sleep in, but we'd rent them. And they'd sit there Friday, Saturday, half a Sunday. All we're doing is drinking beer and eating jerky and chili and whatnot. And and I'm the only one going in and out the fish house, into the outhouse, you know, 7 or 8 times a day. And I'm like, none of the rest of you are going to use the outhouse? Oh, I'll go when I get home.
There's no way their stomachs don't hurt. Oh.
Now, they've had some close calls. Did I ever tell you this one? Speaking of going out shopping and your stomach goes crazy on you. My dad and I, years ago, went off to a Sears or something because the old man was buying a lawnmower.
I miss Sears.
Same.
Yeah, I liked
Rest
hanging
in
out
peace.
there. It was maybe it was Sears, maybe it was some other joint like Sears, but so my dad and I are at the counter. There's a lady helping us. You know, he had more or less bought this lawnmower, and we were there to pick it up, right? So this lady is filling out some paperwork at the counter, and she's like, I got to check on something for you, and I'll be right back. And when she walks away, my dad unleashed evil upon the both of us, right? He thought, okay, the lady is gone. I can unleash this evil. And by the time she comes back, I'll never forget. It was a horrible noise that he made. It was awful, right? And then he says this, Jesus Christ, I'm hungover. All right? And it's brutal. I mean, even me, I lived with the guy at the time. I'm like, oh, for Christ's sake. He's like, yeah, I know. But then quicker than he anticipated, here comes the lady back to the counter, right? And this horrible stench is still hanging over the top. And she walks up, and maybe he had to be there, but she does this. She's like, okay, Mr. Bourne, you purchased the John Deere 450 double blade. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get that loaded up for you in the back of your pickup. You're going to want to back your pickup up to gate.
Uh-oh, it hit her.
And she just looked at the both of us like, you disgusting animals. I know what the one of you's just died. And she filled back your pickup up to gate C.
It must run in the family. We've told the story before, but maybe a year ago now, or maybe even longer, when Dick and I were going to get some beef jerky or whatever we were doing in the lunchroom together.
Oh!
And you had some hangover action. And like the second everything was out, one of the office ladies walked in.
Oh, poor
and
lady.
it was so loud, there's no way she didn't hear it.
It was horrible.
There's no way.
Oh,
but it seemed safe. I mean, the coast, there's never anybody
Never
around.
anybody in there.
That's when it happened.
It was the only time I've ever seen any other human being in that
The
friggin'
sweet old lady.
Yeah. It was like as soon as the noise ended, a split seconds later, she says, "Good morning."
What if she fought back?
Oh, no.
Two can play at that game.
Dueling banjos.
I forgot one other element of that story about my dad and I, where, you know, he doses the both of us, right? The lady's gone. And as she's walking back, like I said earlier, a lot quicker than he anticipated, and the foul stench is still hanging above us, my dad says this under his breath. Oh, Jesus.
That was a mistake.
Yeah. He knew what was going to happen. And she looked at us like we were a couple of just filthy orangutans, you know.
Was he kind of nodding his head towards his son, Nick, a little
you know
bit?
what? He might have been. I was just thinking, I was so embarrassed. I'm thinking, great. Next time we come back to this joint, she's going to go, well, there they are.
Paramedic Jesus said he and a couple buddies, they renew their annual Crap Your Pants Club membership. Every couple months, someone will text the group or chat and let them know, and they now have laminated membership cards.
Dude, I love men sometimes.
I could be the friggin' president of that.
You're a card-carrying member?
It's a terrible thing. All right, here we go. We got to get going again.
You guys are so immature.
Very immature group that we have here. Like we were saying earlier, Dick Bremer going to join us at 7:30. Randy Shaver will be with us, too. And we'll have all kinds of other laughs happening, hopefully, and often is where I'll go with that.
You're listening to the radio. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
CJ Ham for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. When I'm on the field, I can take anything. But at home with my family, we like everything to be comfortable. That's why I trust the pros at Standard. They've been keeping Minnesotans like me comfortable for over 90 years.
Is your cooling system making strange noises or not cooling properly? Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dudes. We're going to set this edition of the Stupid News off with a massive F-up at work. Those are fun to talk about. Everybody's going to F-up at work now and again.
I've enjoyed it when we've had those text topics and people have shared. And if I remember right, there was a couple in the millions of dollars. And they kept their jobs, luckily. Must be well liked.
That's, that was a great topic from quite a while back. We talked about our greatest on-the-job F-ups and got all these great text messages from the brother and sisterhood. You know, it makes you feel a little bit better about your past work F-up to hear about other folks screwing the pooch on the job. One of my favorites was this con artist buddy of mine. He's been a con artist from the time he came out the chute. And he's gained a few jobs by lying on his resume, lying in the job interview, claiming he had all this education or experience just to get a couple of big fat paychecks. And then when they find out he's a phony, they fire him. But at least he made a few bucks along the way. It's just the way the guy operates. I love the guy, but I wouldn't trust him as far as I could bowl him in situations like hiring him to do a job. Absolutely not. Will I sit back and drink beer with him and talk old stories? Absolutely. But he somehow fooled, I don't know what kind of company it would be, but he fooled him into thinking he had experience with heavy machinery. How? I don't remember the details. But, you know, it's a roadside crew. They've got a big old friggin' back-end loader and all these wildly, expensive and complex machines. At first, he's just a grunt, right? Whatever, clearing the sidewalk or stabbing trash in the ditches to make way for the folks who know how to operate these machines. That was his, but he told them on the resume, I know how to drive everything, you got. So, eventually a guy turns up sick and they say, hey, Grunt, Donnie, here's your shot. Take that back end loader and send it and pick up that thing and move it over. He has no idea how to operate these effing things. But he figures, well, I can figure it out. There's arrogance involved in any con man or con woman. They're convinced they can figure it out. So he jumps behind the wheel of the damn thing. He pulls this lever and that. He tipped the damn thing over. It rolled down into the ditch. That's when they found out he had no idea what he was doing, and he was immediately fired.
A former coworker of ours in the job he went to after he left this one, he ended up rolling a vehicle on first week of the job, something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think he lasted too long. This person said they drove a cherry picker into a sprinkler system at their work, cost the company over $100,000. This is Dragonheart Jesus, who said, somehow still have my job.
Wow.
All right, here it is.
I like that the stakes are far less here.
Mm-hmm.
Although we were told something the other day we could do that could cost the company $5 million. And it'd be relatively easy to do.
That was a little scary. That made it pucker a little bit.
Yeah, but outside of that.
Yeah.
Here's our workplace F-up. This happened over there in one of the research labs at the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. Now, normally I'd have no idea what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to scientific research labs, but I'm actually familiar with that joint, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. RPI. Does that ring a bell for anybody else?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The college hockey team, the way it rings a bell for me is RPI had some great hockey teams in the mid-'80s. Great hockey teams. When I was a younger guy, I thought it was pretty cool that their team name was the Engineers. I like that bit. So anyway, at one of the RPI research labs, a janitor was annoyed as hell because there was a beeping sound coming from Summers, and he couldn't figure out where. It was driving him mental. He starts flipping switches to get the beeping to go away. And sure enough, one of the switches he flipped off killed the beep. But when he flipped the switchy switch, He also killed what they call here in the story a super cold freezer, and he ended up destroying decades of scientific work and caused at least $1 million in damages. Oh, no. Balls, Mahoney.
That sucks.
All right, so I'm a bit of a dick. Can you imagine? How would you feel when they told you that information?
Oh, I bet he feels like a complete jackhole.
I don't even know what I would do.
And now the university's putting together a lawsuit against the cleaning service that this poor bastard was working for. They are. Someone over there at RPI said people's behavior and negligence caused all this. Unfortunately, they wiped out 25 years of research.
Sucks.
The beeping that was driving the janitor nuts was some kind of an alarm on the freezer because it wasn't working quite right. There was a freezer repair scheduled just a couple days after this disaster happened. Are you following that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They had someone coming to fix the freezer, but no need for that anymore. A sign on the freezer door also explained the source of the beeping. It had instructions on how to turn the beeping off. The janitor dude never saw that information.
Okay, when he was getting charged with like negligence, I was like, how? But now I understand why.
There was a sign right there in the freezer that says, "Yeah, we get it. The beeping sucks. Here's how you kill them." No, he just went ahead and shut her smooth down.
F this beeping.
Just unplugs the cord from the wall.
I hate myself over this story. I have secondhand hate for this deal. I feel bad for our bro here, but I wouldn't go flipping switches unless I was sure what the hell the result would be.
Yeah, I would ask. You know where you're working. You know what's going on there. I would certainly ask someone. So, I mean, the $1 million, that's rough, but 10 years of research gone.
Yeah.
When you're at a place like RPI, you know they just don't have like Totino's party pizzas in that freezer. There's got to be something important in there.
Hey guys, good news. We got the cancer cure right back here. It's in the freezer.
Oh no. Yeah, think about I'm assuming they keep good records, but man.
That dude, he's in trouble.
Couple texts on screwing up at work. This person in Iowa started a boat engine on fire their first day of their summer college internship. Framer God Jesus rolled an $80,000 lift into a ditch. It cost $10,000 just to get it out and clean up all the diesel. We had a guy crash a CNC mill his second day, $60,000 in damage. They let him keep his job. Second day.
We had an intern at an old radio station he used to work at. Very first day, he managed to delete the entire website from existence.
Wow. Oh, really?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. It was crazy. Like, it was just gone.
That takes so much steps to do.
I know. And he deleted the entire thing.
Well, you would hope so. Maybe it doesn't.
And and then they were able to save like a restored version of it, but it was from a couple years old where, you know, they still had like hosts that didn't work there anymore on it and stuff. Like, it was so bad.
Oh, geez, I better watch out. Make sure I don't do that.
I've definitely screwed up a lot around here. Things didn't work out the way I was hoping, but the worst that I can think of that had the most impact, and this is minor compared to what we're talking about here. That's what I'm saying. That's what I love. The stakes are much lower. We had Metallica record some IDs for the radio station, right? And so I was editing them up, and somehow everything died before I could save it. And I knew I should have saved it, but I didn't. I was just trying to get it done. I didn't save it, and we lost all of it.
Oh, that sucks.
And I remember our program director was not too pleased with me.
Oh. I'm so nervous about that all the time, constantly saving.
Or I know I've had to record a session before, and now I make the joke every time. Where I sit there, record, it's all done. It's like some client's recording an ad, and you forgot to hit record. All right, yeah, levels look good, everybody. Great reads, everyone. Good work. We'll see you next time. Yep. Oh, my God.
They leave the building, and you realize you have nothing on tape. Irony can be a cold-blooded bastard. For some of us, a Harvard professor. Oh, by the way, before I get into this, there's not that much to get into, but real quick on the topic of effing up at work, here's a listener that texted in and said his work crew tore the roof off the wrong house. Okay.
And Dana, you said you guys painted the wrong house.
We painted the wrong house once. That was the guy kind of comes back from work. He goes, Oh, looks good, boys, but I didn't ask for anybody to paint my house.
That must have been an awesome feeling.
Yeah, it was great.
You hear about those stories, though, the roofing companies, especially when you got big storms and they're from out of state and there's all kinds of just chaos working a whole neighborhood if a hailstorm comes through or something.
Dude, I love these texts coming in. This is so much fun. Wow. You got to have balls to come back from some of this stuff. Here's a listener who says he once derailed a train. The mess, the dangers of a crash like that, massive. I love that you got the balls to go ahead and just text and admit, hell, once I derailed an effing train. All right, we were talking irony. A Harvard professor who studies honesty has been accused of dishonesty. Specifically, falsifying data results in behavioral science studies, whatever that means. But I'm sure you get the gist. This prominent Harvard Business School professor, a gal named Francesca Gino, she's been accused of fraud. There's really no sense in going any further with this. The details of the story are about as boring and complex as a story can get, and there's no way I'm going to put you through that. So there you go.
Those are fascinating stories. I remember in the news maybe a month or so back, we had the woman that ran a whole HR department, and her whole, what she focused on is having a workplace where everyone felt welcome and not toxic. And then she was running around in her underwear, and she was the most toxic person you could meet.
She was grabbing people's gear and
grabbing butts
flashing her ass.
Threatening people if they don't want to have a good time with her.
Yeah, the anti-drug guy who gets busted with drugs, the anti-drinking guy or girl who drinks themselves sideways. That's always fun. I'm picturing someone approaching this Harvard professor lady. Hey, aren't you a Harvard professor who studies honesty? Yeah, I used to be. Well, what happened? I got canned. For what? Dishonesty.
Tree Master Jesus has the nickname Ditch at work because his first month on the job, he slid off the road in snowstorms 3 times and had to be pulled out every time by the same guy. Oh, no, it's the same guy.
They call him Ditch?
Ditch.
Now, I read this story 2 times, and I'm still not sure I understand everything. Has anyone here ever heard of a penis padlock?
Yes.
No.
Mm-mm. Where had you heard of a penis padlock?
On the 93X half-assed morning.
We've discussed this before?
Yes.
Oh, I have no memory of this. Dudes who put a padlock over their peckers so you or anybody else who wants to have at it can't access the damn thing without unlocking it.
Yeah, this is my penis.
Okay, I remember these now.
Yeah.
I still don't. So you fit it...
Like your partner would say, that's my penis. I'm locking that up.
It's almost like a chastity belt.
How silly is that in the first place? But so, Josh, help me because I don't remember. I mean, I remember what a good old-fashioned padlock looked like from high school. We used to lock our lockers and whatnot. You put it over snug enough so when that sumbitch clicks and locks, you can't access your dong.
Yeah, if I remember right, it's like the whole thing. You get the weenie and you get the testicles.
Okay.
I wasn't picturing that. I was picturing it just hanging off the pecker.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, from what I remember, and in that way, it avoids an erection.
That makes more sense because hanging it just off your piece, that would have to, in certain situations, be fairly tight.
Yeah, I think you just lock the whole gear up.
That puts a whole new paint job on things. Okay,
I mean, that's how I do it.
I'm sure. I don't remember this at all, but here we go. Some clown, I think this was in Spain, but it doesn't matter. He had to have his penis padlock removed because his girlfriend he and his girlfriend split up, and she had the only key to this insane effing penis padlock.
You're a caring enough person where you'd give the guy the key, wouldn't you, Ashley? Or is there something he could do where he's not getting that key from you?
I'd give him the key. That's just not right. If he can't control whether or not I can have sex, I shouldn't be able to control if he can.
You put it around the nads and the piece. That sounds awful. She's got the only key. Now, I also don't get this part of the story. In order to help in removing this effing thing, so his girlfriend's got the key, she's not giving it back. In order to find help in removing it, he went to the tattoo parlor. What's the reasoning behind that decision?
I don't know. I know that if you get, sometimes if something happens to a piercing, they recommend to actually go to back to the place you got it pierced at instead of the doctor.
I was thinking maybe.
Well, that makes sense, but what the hell? What does a tattoo parlor have to do with the?
Maybe he bought the penis padlock at the tattoo parlor.
There's no mention of that in here. Do tattoo parlors sell penis padlocks?
I don't know.
I was kind of thinking if it's like a tobacco shop, they kind of got everything in there.
Yeah, kind of one of those vibes. I see what you mean, Wapple.
And I might just stop by one because I think they'd be cooler about it versus going to have like a bunch of doctors making fun of me in the doctor lunchroom.
Yeah.
So, dude bought the lock about 8 months ago. He wore it from time to time, he and his girlfriend. What a couple of morons in the first place to play that silly-ass game. This belongs to me. Can you even imagine trying to explain that to your bros?
No.
I feel like that's something that just probably wouldn't come up.
Yeah,
I would get a beating.
Yeah.
I gotta take a leak. Hold on, I gotta ask my wife for the key to my penis real quick.
Oh my, yeah.
Can you even imagine that?
Going to work and you're like, oh, great, the wife's gone.
Going through airline security, explaining that one.
Oh.
You see, this belongs to her, so she has the only key. I can't imagine ever saying that out loud. I would be ridiculed to the end of time, so...
Everyone's waiting for you to go through the checkout or the check-in at the game.
Huh?
The metal detector.
Yeah.
Just stepping aside. No. I'm waiting on someone.
I told you, I had my keys. They're out. They got nothing in the pockets.
I think my wife would just give someone else the key. She doesn't want this penis anymore.
This effing guy. So he can't get the key back from his girlfriend. He's spent the last 3 months trying to remove the padlock himself. All right. Eventually, he did get the key back from his ex. But the lock had rusted shut. He was showering with it on. And it rusted shut. So that's when he went, again, to the only place any of us would go when our penises are in danger, the tattoo parlor. The tattooist there, a gal named La Tuerta Piercer, whatever. A gal there, she shared footage of this incident on TikTok. Of course, you can't miss out on the attention that could be gained from this disaster. The video shows the man standing with his back to the camera. The piercer lady is on her, she's squatting down like a catcher, and she's checking out the rusty lock hanging from this poor idiot's gear. She said they eventually opened the lock with, are you ready?
Yeah.
How they opened the lock? With a hammer.
Oh.
Which, of course, you can only find at a tattoo shop.
That's a scary situation, I bet.
She said, we very carefully put the key in place and gave it a couple hits with the hammer. It then came off.
Imagine that relief.
Could have just done that at home.
I'd rather take the hammer than like a circular saw or something like that.
Well, of course you'd rather take the... No, I'm arguing circular saw on that one, Wapple.
That seems like a pretty big saw for the job, Wapple.
If you went to the
Jesus
hospital,
Christ.
yeah, they'd probably use something like that.
I'm going to need a sliding compound miter saw in here stat for this guy's penis lock.
Wapple's over here. Well, that's way better than a flamethrower or a chainsaw. Well, yes, obviously it is better than a... I'll never fully understand that story. Why you would ever do that. Why would you ever play that game? To put a lock on your friggin'... And then I would go straight to the...
I would go to a locksmith.
You go to the doctor's office, for God's sake. A locksmith. You think a locksmith wants you walking in there, dropping your pants and underwears and saying, "Could you help me with this?"
Yeah, you could put it on the side of your car after you help them out and get D's out.
And penises?
Yeah.
What?
You know how on the side of the truck they say what they do the whole time?
Yeah.
What different locks they can get out?
I have no idea what he's talking
locks.
about.
Yeah, I don't know that I would call a locksmith, just out of respect for them.
Yeah, right. They don't want you showing up. Their problem is not penis locks.
If it's said right on their slogan, we can get out any lock.
How about this?
You're not going to call them.
Blue cup. You said you can get out any lock?
Did you drink Red Bull about 20 minutes ago or something?
Nope.
Okay.
Blue. Nope, no Red Bull here, mister. Not at all. Not one Red Bull. Blue-collar brawler Jesus said he has a friend who's a professional dominatrix. Men pay her $300 a week to hold the key to their penis lock.
Is it some type of humiliation thing? The humiliation king?
Well, if you're at a dominatrix, how do you say that, Josh?
Dominatrix.
If you're at a dominatrix, sure, it's about humiliation and all that, yeah.
Park and Rec Jesus would demand the jaws of life. Hey, bring those jaws over here, copper.
Now, this is old news for educated people like ourselves. We tried this already. Speaking of Wapple, our little Muppet-like show producer, Wapple over there, he got ripped off. The story is, and it's effing stupid, men are paying for professional evaluations of their penis. Now, what I'm about to tell you is a little different than the deal Wapple agreed to a couple years ago. He got in contact with some shady gal online.
From Australia.
That's right.
Oh, it's just too good.
We had read about this. We had read about some lady online from Australia who will rate your penis if you send her $35 and a picture of your pecker. So the picture, he sends her the money. She never got back to you in any way, shape, or form. She never gave you any feedback on your penis.
Took the money.
Am I correct in that recollection, Josh?
Yes, 100%. And since then, we have learned that our regular porn star guest, Jordan Max, does the same thing.
Yeah.
And you've refused to take her up on it, Wapple.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that just because I know Jordan.
I hear what you're saying,
Yes.
but it's like the comfort you have going to a tattoo parlor when you have a penis lock.
Right.
Like Jordan, she sees penises for a living, much like a urologist would.
It's like asking your doctor friend for some advice or something.
Yeah.
This gal on...
I think you should have her take a look.
I don't think I still could.
If you do, I will.
The locksmith.
You want to get your penis evaluated by a locksmith?
Yeah.
Again, it's the locksmith I'm concerned about. Don't do that to your fellow neighborhood locksmith.
So Wapple's gal a couple years ago, she just kept his money, never said word one back to him about his schmuck.
Yeah, what a scam.
Yeah,
how much did you lose? Was that $50 or was it more?
I thought it was like $35.
It was like 20, I think, something like that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
This deal here goes like this. Men are paying, it says here, about $50 for a 3-page professional evaluation of their penis where they give you feedback on this and that.
There's
Again,
no way I would have the patience to read 3 pages about my penis.
Yeah, there's really not that much to talk about. I mean,
Just a couple of bullet points, maybe an opening paragraph. That's all I need.
Just give me a number rating, 1 through 10.
yeah, just like, hey, cool, it's a penis. What else is there to say about
it's
it?
a
It's a penis. It looks like every other penis.
The website, if you're interested, is called Eronite, Eronite. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Word is, they don't hold back to spare anyone's feelings. They advertise their service as, quote, well-founded and honest evaluation, which can also be tough at times. So the process is, they have a 5-member jury that evaluates a player's dong based on 8 criteria. Are you ready for the 8 criteria? This is what they're going to be judging you on. Thickness.
Good start.
Length.
Another important component, I feel like.
Shape.
It's a bit oblong for my taste.
Veins.
Ah.
Are those good or bad?
Well, send in a photo of your penis.
They're necessary, is what they are.
Well, yeah.
Aesthetics. Glands? What does that mean?
That's the tip, right?
Oh.
Is it not?
I don't know.
You tell me.
The 8 criteria: thickness, length, shape, veins. Aesthetics, glands, pubic hairs, and testicles, or testicle if you're down a gear. Those seeking an evaluation, you got to send in what they call here your best pictures, as well as a self-assessment. They claim they'll delete everything for privacy reasons.
Sure.
The jury is headed by the website's editor-in-chief, a fella by the name of Mario Meyer. The other members of the jury are 2 authors, a psychologist, and a dominatrix. I'd like to just show the dominatrix. I really don't care what some dude named effing Mario has to say about my penis, but I'll show it to the...
That's a penis, you might say.
Mm-hmm. This Meyer guy estimates he's examined around 2,500 different hogs at porn castings. There's no background here in the story. I guess the guy worked in porn at one point or another. There's no other information there. So they say he's very experienced in what to look for and knows what others find desirable in or on a penis, in, on, or around a penis.
I don't think my penis is camera friendly. You know how some people, they look good in pictures?
Mm-hmm.
My penis does not look. Maybe I need to
shy up a little bit.
Have someone else take the picture, like a locksmith wobble.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, again with the... It kind of reminds me of a friend of mine, Josh, was expelled in 10th grade, right? Expelled, kicked out of school. In our 10th grade yearbook, his name was still listed amongst our class, but there was no picture of him, and the yearbook claimed he was camera shy.
That's hilarious.
He wasn't camera shy. They threw him smooth out.
Dude, that's great.
All right. Here's a quote from Mario now, the guy who's looking at all these penises and giving them a fair assessment according to the story. He says, "When I see genitals, it's nothing special for me. It's like an elbow or an ankle. It's just part of the body." Now, this statement surprised me. Well, maybe not. I guess I was thinking of a guy like you, Josh, who you have very limited confidence in your penis. You dislike your penis. You're very critical of your own penis.
I think others would agree if they saw it.
I think it's fine. This is the statement from this Waldo Meyer. What did I say his first name was?
Mario.
Mario Meyer, the guy who runs this operation. He said, "Most men are overconfident with their penis." I was picturing someone like Josh who has zero confidence in it. So I was kind of surprised to hear that. But on second thought, a lot of us dudes, we are pretty proud of our dongs. Look at this. I think, well, maybe he's right. I think a lot of us are overconfident. What would the rest of the boys say?
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
I think we're pretty confident with our dongs.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
This team have evaluated the sausages of more than 150 men so far, and they're not giving up yet. They want more penis. More, they said. Silly, ridiculous that you would... Why do you care so much what other people think about anything, let alone your penis? We just talked about this a couple days ago. Our silly obsession with our penises is completely off the rails.
I've never once in my life been like, oh, wow, that's a really nice penis.
I do in the locker room all the time. All the time.
Only reason to go to the gym.
On liver number 2, Jesus said if he gets a glowing report from him, he wants to know if he can bring the report to the bar and say, hey, look at my report. Yeah, you'd have to bring that, right?
Yeah.
Hey, boys, just slap it down. Take a look at this.
Do I have time for one more, Josh?
Why not?
You tell me.
Sure.
Right. It's F-off week, right? We're not too worried about anything?
No.
This is pretty strange. Well, maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe all moving companies operate like this. You folks who put in a day's work moving, let me know. A major Japanese moving company has had to apologize after a video busted loose. The video shows 2 of the worker dudes the mover dudes. One of the guys is tied up naked inside the truck.
Honey, when did we buy that?
And the other guy is, the way they put it here in the story, one guy's tied up ass naked. The other guy is flicking rubber at him, and I'll explain that further best I can in a minute. But for now, I just want your imagination to run wild.
I picture Dana in his St. Cloud State days. You and your buddies doing something like this.
Art Moving Company is the name of the joint. They're headquartered in the city of Osaka, Japan. They will fill a stadium multiple times to see Mr. Big in concert in Osaka, Japan. The moving company acknowledged that the content of the video was inappropriate behavior, and they apologized. I'll make it more clear here for you. The video shows one man tied naked to a wall inside the truck bed.
Wall.
He's up against the wall like a torture chamber type situation.
Wow.
They tied him up. The other guy is flicking rubber bands at him. You see how they are?
I got to tell you, as long as everyone is consenting to this bit, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, it does sound like a blast.
And even at my advanced age, I kind of want to work someplace like that where they have that much fun.
Dude, you know, I've told you so many stories about when I worked warehouse gigs. We never went this crazy. No one ever got naked. But that's all it was just 9 hours of just ball busting and jokes and messing with each other and whacking each other over the top of the head. I don't know why I ever walked away from that.
Landscaping was like that too.
I don't remember ever putting in an honest day's work. It was throwing things.
That's it, destroying things and going way too far with injuring your coworkers for humor were pretty common.
We put a lot of ceiling texture and wall texture in 2-gallon buckets. So you had the big heavy plastic lid that you stomped on. What am I doing here, Josh?
You're pounding.
You would pound these lids on these 2-gallon buckets, thick plastic lids. We would throw them at each other's faces as hard as we could. You'd open a guy up like he just played in an NHL conference final. Why did I ever leave that?
I had a piece of rebar go through my calf, like a few inches into my calf. And instead of helping me out, my coworkers laughed at me.
Yeah. All right.
I had a boulder roll on my boot. Luckily, it was a steel-toe boot. But they wouldn't help me get out from underneath it. I couldn't move it. I sat there for like 10 minutes and nobody would help. They just laughed at me again.
That's where it's at. Real quick. I missed that stuff too. I got to get through this story. So the one naked guy in the truck bed, moving company. One guy's naked, tied to the wall of the truck. The other guy's flicking rubber bands at him. This went all over the internet. They found out the video was taken around 2019. The man who was tied up naked, he left the company earlier this year, not having anything to do with this. The other man who was flicking the rubber bands is still employed there. But I would imagine not for long. So is that how you movers go about things when you got some downtime? Text me and tell me, 651-989-9393. Do you play the naked rubber band game?
I hope the movers that I'll be using soon do that. That'd be fun.
Why don't you hire those topless mover guys?
Oh, that'd be nice. I'd like that.
Before we go, I know we're running late, but I got to tell you one quick story about a couple. This is many years ago. I moved, and I hired a moving company. And as you normally see, it was one responsible-looking guy. He was driving. And the others were like 19-year-old dudes who looked like they just rolled out from under a pickup, But they did good work. But I'll never forget this. So we're at my new location, and all of the boxes are in the driveway. Some of them have been put in the house. The mover dudes are taking a break, and I'm just kind of sitting there with them. And one of the dudes says to me, he's like 19, 20 years old. He says to me in this exact fashion, when you get all moved in and stuff, are you gonna are you gonna have big parties and stuff?
That's so cute.
6 to noon, Jesus said every day this summer he's hitting water in a plastic bag in his coworker's seat. They call it wet butt, and it's hilarious. I lost it, wet butt. fun again.
Gosh. Dudes have so much fun.
I could sit here all effing day and tell you stories of the warehouse gong shows that we used to have. I'm an idiot. And we worked nights. None of this getting up at 3:30 in the morning crap. We worked nights. We had a riot. I hate myself.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
There it is. And for the first time since 2009 and 7th overall, the Tigers can say we are champions. An amazing turn of events, fellas. After getting trounced 24-4 yesterday, they come back, score 18 with a record-setting 24 hits of their own and just destroy the Gators.
I really believe this will go down as one of the best teams in college baseball history. I mean, not one losing week for an entire regular season, 11 wins in the postseason, 6 of them against SEC teams, and I love these guys. I'm so proud of them. They are a worthy champion if there ever was a worthy champion.
I don't want to get into that argument, which is the greatest college baseball team of all time.
We'll be here all day, man.
I've got so many thoughts on that. Yes, Louisiana State University is the champion of a tournament that none of us watched. I caught a little bit of it last night.
Shaver was saying it was a good tournament yesterday.
Randy Shaver, he liked it. I read some other articles saying it was the greatest college baseball World Series of all time. Good for LSU. Just not something I ever get involved in. Hey, real quick, before I'm just going to tell you a couple things we got to get moving. Real quick, we were talking about workplace shenanigans. Josh, when you were young, you did landscaping, and all you did was just raise hell. When I used to work warehouse jobs when I was a young guy, that's all we did was raise hell and bust balls. I loved it. It was a blast. Got a great text here from a listener. Listeners are texting in how they have fun on the job. Here's a guy who says he builds houses every once in a while. We'll screw each other's ladders to the floor. I friggin' love that. Picture some
first time going, what the hell?
Yeah, you gotta move your ladder over. Son of a bitch.
Strengthen my upper body.
That's where it's at. The Twins lost in Atlanta last night, 4-1. We got Dick Bremer and Randy Shaver coming in a half hour to talk all about it. Josh's news is coming up.
You're listening to the radio. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
CJ Ham for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. When I'm on the field, I can take anything. But at home with my family, we like everything to be comfortable. That's why I trust the pros at Standard. They've been keeping Minnesotans like me comfortable for over 90 years.
Is your cooling system making strange noises or not cooling properly? Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
At 8:16, there's this cop banging on my door saying, we need you to leave the area.
First, I prayed that everything would be okay. Then my husband and I and the dog left, and my son left as well.
Police in Georgia evacuated homes in a subdivision early Thursday morning after a neighbor found a grenade in the trash.
Oh, no.
And it was a neighborhood dog that led officials to the explosive device. A neighbor said he noticed trash strewn on his front and backyards and told his teenage kids to clean it up.
We have this loose dog in the neighborhood that just is tearing up trash. And we went in the backyard. It was a gun clip and what looked like a fake grenade.
He called 911 and police, firefighters, and bomb removal technicians arrived, asking neighbors to clear the area while they investigated. They determined it wasn't a fake grenade. In fact, it was a real live hand grenade that was indeed potentially explosive. The bomb squad safely removed the explosive device. People were allowed to return to their homes within an hour, but police haven't said who they think may have put it in the trash. That incident remains under investigation, and they believe that neighborhood stray dog could have saved someone's life.
You said that guy sent his kids out to clean it up?
Yeah.
I love that. It's such a dad move.
Scammers called in bomb threats to major U.S. grocery and retail chains nationwide in recent months, demanding ransom payments in Bitcoin, gift cards, or cash. The extortionists have targeted stores like Kroger, Walmart, and Whole Foods Market in states including New Mexico, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Minnesota. It's yet another evolving scam. The senior executive vice president of retail operations at the Retail Industry Leaders Association said yesterday one person is reported to have telephoned a Whole Foods Market location in a suburb north of Chicago, claimed a pipe bomb was placed in the store. They demanded $5,000 worth of Bitcoin. Store officials called police and no bomb was found. Another person threatened to detonate a bomb in a Kroger's in New Mexico unless the scammer issued a money transfer. Again, no bomb found after the store was evacuated. The bomb threats began months ago and increased in the spring. Callers have sought payments ranging from hundreds of dollars to thousands. The threats are just the latest headache for retailers nationwide who have lost an estimated hundreds of millions of dollars due to rampant and persistent shoplifting.
Oh, man, what a scam.
A Detroit man set a gas station on fire with a... By the way, just real quick aside, if somebody ever wants to extort money from me, don't do crypto.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it.
Fair enough. Thanks for that tip.
Yeah, you'd be better off with gift cards, something I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe cash.
It's good to know.
A Detroit man set a gas station on fire with a blowtorch after appearing to get into an argument with the clerk, trapping the worker inside the raging inferno. Frightening footage from inside the West 7 Mile Road gas station kiosk reveals the moment the alleged arsonist, Julian Miller, steps into the store with a trash can and a blowtorch in hand last Tuesday about 2:50 a.m.
Good Lord. Picture that coming at you.
Yeah, it's just the video's scary. The guy looks like a crazy person. The 35-year-old wearing a white T-shirt and colorful shorts dumped trash from the bin onto the floor before appearing to exchange words with the clerk who's behind the counter and out of frame. The suspect then points to the trash and sets it on fire with his blowtorch as he quickly flees through the door behind him. The fire spreads quickly, covering nearly the entire store in less than 2 seconds as the clerk stands trapped behind the counter. The employee was rushed to the hospital where he was treated for first-degree burns.
The motives are totally unclear, but I think we know that clearly you've got arson with intent to kill.
Police confirmed they arrested Miller later that day. He was charged with intent to murder, first-degree arson, and a litany of other property damage and assault felonies.
Lord, have mercy.
Yeah, they haven't said what this guy's deal was, if this was completely random or if they had some sort of beef. A Florida woman was arrested over the weekend for trying to kill a man with a bottle of gasoline lit on fire. 42-year-old Mary Smith arrested Sunday about 7:25 p.m. Deputies say Smith had been arguing with the man for several hours when she allegedly had enough. She grabbed a Gatorade bottle with gasoline in it and a piece of paper as a fuse. The man told deputies she lit the paper on fire and threw it at him. The victim's pants were burned. He was treated at the scene by paramedics who also put out the fire. Deputies said if the bottle Smith had thrown had gotten any closer to the victim, it could have caused severe disfigurement or even death. Good thing she's got a bad arm. An odd 15-mile-per-hour police chase in North Florida ended when the driver had to be hospitalized after eating a bag of cocaine. The story also provides us with some great audio clips.
Eating a bag of cocaine?
Yeah. Just before 11:30 p.m. last Tuesday, a deputy attempted to stop a silver Infiniti. Upon activating emergency lights and sirens, the vehicle failed to immediately pull over and continued driving for about half a mile at about 15 miles per hour. Finally, it did come to a stop, the sheriff's office said. As the deputy approached the driver's side of the vehicle and made contact with the operator, the deputy observed a torn open baggie on his lap with several small white flakes consistent with cocaine, scattered across his shorts, scattered on his face, and covering his beard.
Bro, I don't have crack in my car, bro. It's swear all to God. Over you. Bro, I don't have crack over me, bro.
You don't have crack on you? What's this, bro?
Bro, that is not crack, bro. Huh? No, that's nothing, bro.
That exchange reminded me of the bro down scene from South Park.
What's up, bro? Take a swing, bro. Right here, bro. Why you gotta disrespect, bro? I do respect you, bro. Show some respect, bro. I do respect you, bro. Stop disrespecting, bro. I respect you, bro.
Body cam video shows the driver repeatedly refusing to get out of the vehicle and demanding to know what he had done to be stopped.
What's going on? I'm asking you how about the car. You took forever to pull over.
What I did, sir?
I'm telling you, Leslie, to step out of the car.
What I did, though.
As he was removed from the vehicle, the torn open baggie dropped to the ground. While in custody, he spit out a white substance several times, which later tested positive for cocaine.
You see how blue that is?
Bro, that is not crack,
that's positive
bro.
for cocaine. You see this, right?
Bro,
I'm just telling
I didn't have no cocaine.
Okay. Do you see how bright blue it is all the way around? I'm telling you, what color is this? What color is that?
Blue.
Blue. That came out of your spit.
Oh, my God. So you found cocaine on me, bro?
Officials said an ambulance took the suspect to a hospital to be treated for ingesting a large amount of narcotics.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that to hit him. Just go crazy.
Why was he eating cocaine?
Just to hide the evidence,
Why was he doing that, bro?
I don't know, bro.
Why don't you respect him, bro?
I do respect you, bro. A passenger aboard an hour-long Southwest Airlines hop from Southern California to Las Vegas allegedly tried to kiss a flight attendant, insisting he was having a panic attack and wouldn't be able to settle down unless she joined him in the bathroom.
Well, that's usually what calms me down, too, yeah. Kissing random strangers.
And according to a criminal complaint, the man kept at it until 3 of his buddies finally had to pin him to a seat so the plane could land.
Attaboys.
The incident occurred shortly after 12:30 p.m., 40 minutes after the Southwest flight left Palm Springs with roughly 100 passengers and 3 flight attendants on board. With 20 minutes to go, William Morgan, who was seated in the middle of the coach cabin, walked to the rear of the aircraft and approached a flight attendant identified in the complaint as only CB. Morgan demanded CB kiss him, the complaint states.
That's great.
CB got up from her jump seat, at which point Morgan put his arms on her shoulders and demanded a kiss again before stating he was going to have a panic attack if she didn't go into the bathroom with him.
Mm-hmm.
CB then pushed Morgan away and used the airplane's intercom to summon help, saying she felt her life was in serious danger. A flight attendant ID'd in the complaint as KL rushed to help CB and said she saw Morgan with his hands on her shoulders. She tried to calm him down, the complaint said, but Morgan instead wheeled around and grabbed KL's shoulders, telling her that he needed CB to kiss him to calm down. Morgan then grabbed CB's face and squeezed it hard while again trying to kiss her. At this point, 3 other men who were traveling with Morgan physically restrained him while the flight landed at Harry Reid International in Las Vegas. In the first 6 months of the year, the FAA has received some 857 reports of unruly passengers. Last year, the agency received 2,455 reports of unruly passengers, down from a high in 2021 of 5,973. Incredible. Last year, a Southwest passenger who openly masturbated 4 times on a 3-hour flight from Seattle to Phoenix was sentenced to 48 days in jail. In May, an American Airlines passenger was arrested for allegedly sliding his hand up a flight attendant's thigh to her, quote, crotch area. And then earlier this month, a doctor from the Atlanta suburbs was accused of groping his seatmate while flying to Maine to propose to his girlfriend. The use
sounds like fun.
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah. The use of a drone with infrared imaging capabilities helped law enforcement locate a man who had left the scene of an accident, and it very likely saved his life when authorities were able to stop a train on its way to where the man had collapsed on railroad tracks.
That's kind of what these tools and like the UAV is out there for, is just to help us in these emergency situations where we can quickly survey a large area. And in this case, we were probably within 5 minutes able to spot this guy in the tracks.
The aircraft spotted him as he collapsed west of Sacred Heart, and because of it, the Renville County Sheriff's Office was able to contact the Twin Cities and Western Railroad, which halted a train en route to the man's location just 2 miles away. The 37-year-old Granite Falls man was located by drone, walking on railroad tracks about a mile west of where his vehicle had rolled about 5:56 a.m. Friday.
Oh, no.
The vehicle was fully engulfed in flames as emergency responders reached the site of the rollover. After extinguishing the fire, the crews discovered there was no occupants, and a search of the area ensued. The Renville County Sheriff's Office brought in the drone, and it was shortly after its launch they located the man on the railroad tracks about a mile west of that accident. The camera on the aircraft showed he was in obvious distress. It showed him collapse on the tracks as rescuers made their way to reach him.
I could just see an individual, like a heat signature on the tracks, that was kind of stumbling.
The TC&W Railroad was contacted and asked to stop any trains in the area until the situation was resolved. The Minnesota State Patrol is investigating that crash.
It's a hell of a place for your lights to go out.
Right there on the
while
tracks.
you're walking down the railroad tracks.
And I mean, there's a train coming at you. Thank God they had that drone out there. That is pretty scary. You guys will all find yourself in that situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Each and every one of you.
We'll be there.
The 3rd season of Superman and Lois wraps up tonight on the CW. Also on the CW tonight, the series, not series, don't mean to make anybody nervous, the season finale of Gotham Knights. Spider-Man star Tobey Maguire, 48 today. Creator of Alias and Lost, J.J. Abrams, who directed The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, the new Star Trek movies, and Mission Impossible 3. He's 57 today. Happy 12th birthday to Kira Lou from Dad, What the Chuck Jesus, and that's 93X News.
Minnesota Twins interview on the half-assed morning show.
Birdie stays put. This one in the air, out toward right, and he got it! Big old bat flip for Luis Arraez on his 3rd homer of the year.
And boy, did he know it. Walking. Yeah, I know it's a homer, and huge bat flip.
He did a really big bat flip that he just tossed it up in the air as he got about halfway.
Man, it is fun to watch him.
It is fun to watch Luis Arraez. He had a dong the other night and executed a very dramatic bat flip. It was nice to see. The Twins are playing their first series in Atlanta in 7 years. Our friend Dick Bremer is there, of course, to call the series on Bally Sports North, and he joins us live now. Hello, Dick.
Good morning.
And Randy Shaver is also hopefully on the telephone. Hi, Randy.
Good morning.
Now, Dick, you're probably not aware of this, but Randy is currently involved in his ball and chain All-American road trip. He and the wife driving cross country like Clark and Ellen Griswold, for Pete's sake. And every day we get an update on where he's at. Yesterday he was in Chicago. Randy, where are you at now?
I am in the home of the Cleveland Guardians, Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
It's unfortunate.
Also the home of Roseanne.
That's right. Your wife comes from Ohio.
That's correct.
Wow.
So that's where we are this morning.
What was the drive like between Chicago and Cleveland?
Actually, it's a kind of a pretty drive through northern Indiana and Ohio. It was out of Chicago. Once you get out of Chicago, it's actually a pretty drive, so not bad.
Dick, Dick Bremer, do you know anything about that stretch there between Chicago and Cleveland, Ohio?
I've made the trip from Chicago to Indianapolis years and years ago to watch the baseball Saturday night in Chicago, and then the Indy 500. But I've never made the trip from Chicago to Cleveland.
Oh, all right. How long of a poke was it, Randy?
It's about 5 hours, and I will say that I've done the same drive that Dick just explained, and my drive yesterday was much prettier than his drive. not a pretty drive to Indianapolis out of Chicago.
I hear you. All right. Wow.
So I'm guessing you're going to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Is that right?
Oh.
Actually, we are not. I've done that before. Kind of disappointing, actually. It's not as great as one would think.
See, I've heard that. I've never been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I've heard a few people say it's sort of underwhelming. Dick Bremer, you've been there?
4 or 5 times, to the point where I believe one of the displays they've had there every time is Jim Morrison's Cub Scout outfit, and I believe I have seen his Cub Scout outfit more than Jim Morrison did.
Yeah,
would you agree with me, though, Dick, that it's kind of underwhelming, that it's not, I don't know, it just didn't really wow me when I was there. Yeah, I would agree, especially, everybody has their own taste in music, and there are a lot of artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that I had absolutely no impact in my life at all. And it's different, of course, with the Baseball Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All those guys, whether it's Fran Tarkenton, Jim Brown, whatever. I mean, those guys had an impact on my life. But there are a lot of artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I didn't even know who they existed, much less our Hall of Famers.
Do you remember any of those, Dick, where you looked on the wall and said, "Who in the hell is that?" kind of a thing?
Yeah, I don't remember them specifically, but I mean, the induction classes are so much bigger than the Baseball Hall of Fame and all that. Right. So, and I sat through a long film the last time I was there. We had an off day on a Saturday there, and I sat through a long film. And this would have been, I suppose, 2019, and the film only went to like 2015. I thought, no, wait a minute, we're the artists that have been inducted in the last 3-4 years, and they never really updated the film.
Well, see, now a band that Josh and I are big fans of, and we're waiting for their turn to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, would be Iron Maiden. Do you have any idea who that even is, Dick Bremer? Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of their big hit.
Run to the Hills probably is the one most people would know.
Okay, all right, okay. No, I'm aware of them, yeah, but and they're not in yet.
Okay, no, that's as far as I remember. They're not in yet, are they, Josh?
No, actually, Bruce Dickinson recently said they don't want to get in.
They don't want to get in.
Yeah, he's not interested.
Judas Priest went in a couple years ago, and that meant a lot to me. Kiss went in a number of years ago, and that was also. Is AC/DC in there yet? I don't think they're in there.
I don't think they are either.
I know you had
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
How can you have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame without AC/DC?
Right. Well, one of your partners, Justin Morneau, is a massive AC/DC fan.
AC/DC.
And we quizzed him a couple of years ago, right? And I think he passed the test.
That's right. He did very well. They went in already?
2003.
What?
Yep. Okay, there you go.
I missed that. I don't know what the... Well, here's the deal. Randy in Cleveland, Ohio, Dick in Atlanta. Man, we got people all over the country here wanting to be part of our program. Doesn't matter where they are. Last night, what are we going to say now? The Twins found out all about what makes Spencer Strider one of the best in the business last night.
Yeah, 10 strikeouts over 7 innings, and in the first few innings, the Twins had some really good at-bats against him, but they found out ultimately why he... has such a high volume of strikeouts. He's got great stuff. 7 innings, and I think his last pitch in the 7th inning was 99 miles per hour, which was, I think, the hardest pitch he threw all night long. So what an incredible talent, and last year was his rookie year. So, the Braves did something right getting this guy, I think, a 4th-round draft pick, developing him. And he is one of the reasons why this Braves team is really, really good.
Yeah, they are damn good. Marcell Ozuna hit the go-ahead homer off of Sonny Gray in the 7th, but Sonny was still tough as nails last night. He was solid again.
Before the home run, I think we said on the air that you could look at the numbers from last night and could argue that was Sonny Gray's best start of the year because of who he was pitching against, and then he gave up the home run to Ozuna, and Acuna hit a 2-run homer later. How about Acuna? He's second in the National League in hitting, 71 points behind Luis Ariz.
It's got to be kind of a helpless feeling.
Yeah, and I've kidded Carew about this over the years. I mean, he won 7 batting titles, and 3 of them, I think, were by 45 points or more, which meant, the batting race was pretty much over with by Labor Day, and there was really no race, and that's how dominant Carew was. And this Acuna guy is just, he may be the best player in the game right now, and that's including Aaron Judge and some of the other great players who are hurt right now. He's just phenomenal. He's got a great arm in right field. Hit a big home run last night, steals bases. He's got it all. And, again, he's another reason why this Braves team is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. They are. They've won 11 out of their last 12 games.
And they're up to 51 wins already, yeah.
Tonight, Game 2, 6 o'clock on BSN. We get to see Bryce Elder for the Braves. I'm not familiar with that name. And Joe Ryan for the Twins.
And Ryan coming off the complete game shutout he had against the Red Sox his last time out. So we'll see, how he fares here tonight. Ryan has really emerged as one of the top pitchers in the league. And, last night, too, the Twin starters gave him a really good chance to win the ball game. You look at the Braves lineup, and I think we were talking about it last night, how they have stretched their lineup out 1 through 9, and Ozuna was hitting whatever it was last night, 7th. He hits a big home run. I guess Rosario's hitting 7th, and he did cleanup for a lot of teams in Major League Baseball. And then you look at, compare it to the Twins, and it's not really that the Twins lineup isn't stretched out. There's nothing wrong with Michael A. Taylor hitting 9th or, Joey Gallo hitting 7th. It's Buxton and Correa that are having disappointing years. Correa's hitting 60 points below his, major league average, and that's the biggest issue for this Twins lineup right now. Not the guys up on top or, down in the bottom. It's the guys in the middle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Now, Joe Ryan starting tonight. All year long, Randy Shaver's been saying Joe Ryan's going to be an all-star this year. Do either one of you have any information on where he sits in all-star voting and things like? I haven't really looked up the all-star vote.
I don't think pitchers are necessarily. Well, they may be.
Are they voted on or not?
But
no, and at least they haven't been. Yeah, they're picked like the last weekend, and it depends somewhat on who's available to pitch and who's not. But Ryan deserves it. Whatever his earned run average is now, and I think it's 2.98 or something like that. Hopefully it'll be sliced by about a half a run, because we had a play a few starts ago where there was an error, I thought an error made by Julian. It was ruled a hit, and as a result of that, 4 more earned runs scored. So I'm hoping that they review that, change that, and his ERA will be about a half run less than it is right now.
Okay. That's something I don't really follow, is all-star voting. Maybe I should be a better fan and vote, and try to get, my favorite Twins. But I wasn't aware of that. So position players are voted on and pitchers are not. Okay.
They're chosen by the manager of the American League. But, I mean, Joe Ryan easily could be a double-win guy with an ERA easily under 3 by the time they look at pitchers. And Dick's right. They'll determine guys based on whether they can pitch. Obviously you don't. I mean, do they not pick guys, though, that deserve it, that maybe they know won't be? It's kind of hard to exclude guys when they have had a great year, even though they might not be able to help you in the game, right?
Right. Well, if Joe Ryan's turn comes up the Sunday before the All-Star break and his numbers are marginal, he may not go. But not everybody who goes is going to pitch in the game either. It's the thing that's really disappointing is I can't remember the last time the Twins didn't have a position player that was had a legitimate chance of getting to the All-Star game. Whether a few years ago Polanco was voted the starting shortstop for the American League, and Buxton last year, but this year I don't know who among the position players you could possibly pick, because there's nobody that has decent enough numbers to even be considered.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Nobody.
Been a long time. Oh man! So first time the Twins have played in Atlanta in 7 years, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So Dick, you haven't been there to call the game in that amount of time.
Right.
But you can't help it. Does the 91 series just instantly come up whenever you can't help it?
Yesterday, when I got to the ballpark and got in the press box elevator, and they had an ad on the wall of the elevator car. They're having a Ron Gant bobblehead on July 19th. So, of course, what did I think of? Right. Herbeck and Gant, right? And that was actually the 91 World Series. Doesn't seem that long ago, maybe, but that was, 2 stadiums ago. Yeah. They're in this fairly new ballpark here, 7 years old, but the World Series was County Stadium, and then they went through 20 years or whatever of Turner Field, and now they've got a fairly new ballpark here again.
That's great. Ron Gant bobblehead night. That brings back such great memories. Do you remember the bobblehead? The Kent Herbeck bobblehead from a few years ago, Dick, where he's pulling a bobblehead Ron Gant off of first base?
Right, and that was a pretty hot commodity, probably still is on eBay. That was a very unique bobblehead, and I always thought when they released that they should have, they have audio loops now that they can play with bobbleheads, and they should have had Ron Gant saying, "I'm safe," and Kent Herbeck said, "No, you're out." That would have been a nice little twist to that bobblehead.
That's funny.
Those things are going for $300 on eBay. I just looked it up.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
When we used to... I've got so many friggin' bobblehead dolls at the house. It's ridiculous. I'm forced to display them, even though I look like a 9-year-old.
Doesn't stop me.
And I don't know. A couple people.
Don't be ashamed, Nick. Don't be ashamed.
I don't know. At this point, I think it's kind of silly. But I've got nowhere to. I've got so many of them. I've got nowhere to store them. So I've got a dresser down in the basement that I have all these. And I have the Herbeck and Ron Gant one. I mean, I got some great. Some of them are really, really cool. Some of them, but just to hear that story again is always fun. Oh man, I mean, what was that? That was game 2, I believe, right, Dick? Where Herbeck drug Gant off of first.
No,
base.
it was in Atlanta, so it was a game.
Oh.
No, it was game 2. Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay.
Yes. Or game 6.
See, I want to say it was game 2 because I remember the home crowd
Yeah, no, it was game 2, I believe. And then Herbeck had to endure death threats and all that stuff when the games were in Atlanta.
Right.
And then he was still public enemy number 1 with the Twins winning the World Series. And he would tell the story that he and his wife were planning a trip to Mexico or something like that. They had a layover at the Atlanta airport right after the World Series. And so he's sitting there at the gate with sunglasses on and a cap pulled over his eyes so no one would recognize him.
God dang. I mean, where I was going with that, what I remember so vividly, well, there's a lot of things I remember vividly about the 91 World Series. Twins fans, there's many of us who, you'll never forget it.
Right.
Was when Herbeck was, of course, when they went on to play Game 3 in Atlanta, since it was the first World Series game for the city of Atlanta for their 3 games at home. They introduced the entire rosters, and when Herbeck was introduced, at that point in my life, that was the most thorough booing I had ever heard in my life. And I believe he tipped his cap to the crowd. I believe
cool.
he soaked it up. So Byron Buxton down there playing in his home state for the first time. Is that correct, Dick Bremer?
Yeah, and had the pleasure of walking out after the ball game last night with his parents. Got a chance to see Byron play in their home state, Baxley, Georgia. I guess about 3-hour drive. Just a pinch hitting appearance last night. I expect he'll be in the lineup as the designated hitter tonight. And, pretty cool moment. I mean, he grew up a Braves fan because they were in as close to the backyard as you're going to get. And, so we hope Byron's in the lineup and can have the thrill of having a good night here in Atlanta.
Yeah, that'd be great. A comment I read from Byron on playing in front of his friends and family that I found interesting. He said, it's really cool. These folks are able to see him play. He said a lot of them want to get to Minnesota, but a lot of people don't like to fly from where I'm at. That's interesting. I wonder, I know I have my reasons. I'd like to hear theirs, and maybe sometime.
Yeah, he comes from a very small town, and, it sounds like a bigger version of where I grew up in western Minnesota, and, yeah, I can relate to that. It's just even going to a big city like Atlanta is kind of a daunting experience if you haven't done it before. There's quite a divide between life in small-town America and big city America.
So you were a little freaked out first time you got on an airplane, Dick Bremer?
Yeah, I was actually, first time was when I was working in Cedar Rapids and was flying to do a Hawkeye Hoosier basketball game in Bloomington, Indiana, and I think we made 4 stops along the way. So that was... Any place that had a long runway, I think we stopped to pick up another 2 passengers. So.
Yeah, I can't stand that flying. So I get it. Okay, now I think I better understand now. You come from a small town like that, big cities, airports, things like that. You're not accustomed to something like that. Can I tell my Dick, you remember a college basketball player years ago by the name of Bryant Reeves? Went to Oklahoma State University. They called him Big Country.
Yep, vaguely. Yep, big guy, big arms, right?
Well, he was kind of a frumpy dude.
Was he? Okay.
Randy Shaver, he wasn't terribly defined anywhere, was he?
No,
Brian
he was
Reed?
kind of a. I wouldn't say he was soft, but he was a bigger guy. Played for Vancouver.
Yeah.
He was. He was a really good college basketball player. He took up a lot of space. How about that?
He almost single-handedly brought him to the Final Four in, 97, 96? Anyway, Bryant Reeves came from a tiny little town in Oklahoma before he signed up to go play basketball for Eddie Sutton at Oklahoma State. He had almost never left the general area of this tiny town he came from. And at one point or another, he got on an airplane with the head coach, Eddie Sutton. I don't know what the heck they were doing, but he was the first time he'd ever been on an airplane. And he turns to Eddie Sutton and he says, "My ears keep popping. Is there anything I can do about that?" And Eddie Sutton says, "Well, try chewing gum." Sutton gets up to use the bathroom, comes back, and Reeves had stuffed chewing gum in his ears. I was like that one. Big Country, they call. Bad news, Jose De Leon, Tommy John surgery. His season is over, Dick Bremer.
Yeah, had kind of disappeared after his first surgery, at least publicly, but he'd worked really hard to get back, and it just made we didn't do the game. It was on another network, and I'm watching it, and as he's warming up, the elbow blows again, and it just made your heart sink because these guys love to play the game, and that's one of the great frustrations for Byron Buxton now is he can't play the game like he wants to play the game, and in De Leon's case, I think he probably knew right away he's got to, rewind the tape and go through this arduous rehab process again and in the hopes of getting back. He was really liked and respected in the clubhouse because of all the rehab he had to go through to get back to. He was pitching pretty well for the Twins. So, yeah, that's a big setback and more maybe emotionally than anything else. I think when he came off the field, you could see Carlos Correa show his frustration because those players who are lucky enough to play at that level know that when it's taken away and you can fight your way back, that makes you appreciate it even more, and now he's got to go through that process again.
Yeah, what a drag. Absolute drag. Hey, a few days ago, I think it was the Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals traveled to play a series in London. Is this the first time Major League Baseball? I don't recall.
I think it is, yeah.
No, they played in London before. They played in Mexico City earlier this year. They're doing their best to try to move the game around around the world and get better exposure. And each team won a game over there, and maybe at some point the Twins will be picked to go. Where would be the natural for the Twins to go? Would it be like Norway or Sweden or someplace like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. I think that would make sense. I don't remember the big league clubs going to London. What would you think? We've been talking about travel with Randy Shaver on his ball and chain All-American road trip. What would you think about heading over to London to call some games, Dick?
That'd be fun. Yeah, and I was excited a few years ago when they were first thinking about the Field of Dreams game in Dyersville, Iowa. There was talk that it would be the Twins and the Cardinals because, it'd be pretty much equidistant between St. Louis and the Twin Cities, and you'd draw a lot of fans there. That didn't happen. But, I think it's a nice thing for baseball to do that, to take the game that is foreign in England and other countries and show the world, what the game of baseball is all about.
Mm-hmm. Who's playing the Field of Dreams game this year?
I don't know. I know it's not us. I know it's not the Twins. Other than that, I don't know.
Randy Shaver, you know.
I don't know.
You're the Iowegian.
Looks like there's no games this year because of construction at the site.
Oh. They're building bigger bleachers and whatnot for the house.
Actually, I think Frank Thomas, the Hall of Famer, I think he's involved in an ownership group, and they're trying to turn it into a big multi-field complex for baseball there. So, I think that's absolutely right. They're not having a game there because they're undergoing a major expansion.
Yeah, it looks like $80 million. They're going to put youth baseball, field softball, team dorms, a field house, jogging trails, hotel, RV parking, outdoor amphitheater.
Wow, okay.
Sounds a lot like what they have outside of Cooperstown. They have
exactly. That was one of my impressions last year when I was there. Is outside of Cooperstown itself, there's just baseball fields everywhere. It seems like.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, baseball in London. Did they put butts in the seats for this Cardinals-Cubs series? Anybody know?
I assume they did. I wasn't able to watch any of it, but I assume so.
Yeah, I don't know. You think they even understand what the hell they're looking at in London when they watch a baseball game?
Probably compare it all the time to cricket. I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of like when we had that Flula comic, the audio of him describing
He
baseball.
didn't understand baseball
no, he
at
did
all.
Not. Well, there you go. Tonight at around 6, we'll be tuning into Bally Sports North to see Game 2 of this Braves Twin series we mentioned. Joe Ryan on the bump. Dick, enjoy your time in Atlanta. And this time I'm serious. I know I was misled last week when I tried to have a big dramatic farewell with you, but here we are talking again. This time I believe it's legitimate. You're on the West Coast. Oh, no, you're off for the All-Star game, and you're also doing some West Coast games, so we will not be talking to you for a couple weeks.
Right. You guys have off next week because it's the 4th of July. I'm assuming you'll do everything to properly honor our independence and don't do anything that would bring your radio station into disrepute.
Well, we don't know each other very well at this time.
Right.
You'd be surprised, my friend.
The Twins are at home for the Independence Day, but we'll be off. That's right. We're off, and then the All-Star and this and that, so it'll be a couple weeks. We would never do anything to, I don't know what you said. I can't repeat what you said. We would never, and but we appreciate having you on every Tuesday, Dick, and we'll talk to you when the time comes.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
You bet. Have fun in Atlanta. Dick Bremer joins us every Tuesday to talk Twins baseball.
I wonder if those kids who end up going to the Field of Dreams actually realize that Field of Dreams is in the middle of frickin' nowhere in Iowa. I mean, there is nothing around Dyersville, Iowa. It is, it's a decent drive from Cedar Rapids. It's kind of between Cedar Rapids and you're out there in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing to do except to play baseball.
Well,
because you're not near a town of any size.
For now, but like Wapple said, they're building up all kinds of this and that.
Which is kind of a shame a little bit,
put
right?
in a strip joint, a couple of casinos. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people would want it to stay as is. It's going to lose the novelty.
That's kind of right.
Yeah,
that's what the gist is.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we
kills what made it cool.
Yeah.
Right.
A couple of texts came in while we were talking to Dick. I got to find this from Metal Casting Jesus. Randy Shaver calling us from Cleveland, Ohio this morning. He's on this road trip with the wife every morning. We get to find out where his next stop is going to be. Are you going to be in a fresh city tomorrow, Randy? You're staying in a...
We will be leaving for a fresh city tomorrow, yeah.
Okay, well, then you can just surprise us to tell us, where you're headed. Here it is. Is this Metal Casting Jesus who I was trying to find? Okay. Yesterday, Randy drove from Chicago to Cleveland. Metal Casting Jesus says this via text. Isn't that stretch between Chicago and Cleveland known as the Taint?
That's what we call it.
I've never heard that before.
I like that.
It could be, I suppose.
Yeah, I hear you.
It wasn't that bad.
Well, only a few hours, 5 hours. That's not bad.
5 hours. We actually saw rain for the first time, so I mean it rained quite a bit, which I haven't seen all summer back in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's where we're at around here. Few and far between. All right, this is a hell of an idea right here. Is this legitimate? I can't tell. But Randy Shaver, a rival event to the Olympic Games has emerged.
What? How would you compete?
Here's how, Smashley. There is a difference. It's a rival event to the Olympic Games with one difference. This set of games, the use of performance-enhancing drugs is not against the rules. In fact, it's highly encouraged.
Hell yes. I'm game. This sounds awesome.
The steroid games?
They're calling it, Randy Shaver, if this is all legit, the Enhanced Games.
Okay.
They claim to be a platform to test, quote, how far the body can go using substances frowned upon across the rest of the global sporting community.
Well, I would also say that that's probably a dangerous thing to do.
That's what a lot of folks are saying.
That would be a very... I don't even know how you would take out the liability to cover your ass on something like that, because you know how people can be. They will take it to the very extreme. You might see people die trying to do stuff. That would be awful.
This is one of the crazier things I've ever read in my life.
Yeah.
Some businessman in Melbourne, Australia, named Aaron DeSouza. He's the president of the Enhanced Games. And he told the local news, the Enhanced movement will obliterate all the world records. It's underground. It's unsafe. But by taking things out into the open, we can do this under clinical and scientific supervision. They're planning on running the very first Enhanced Olympics right after the next legitimate Olympics, 2024 in Paris, France.
What, all sports or just a limited number of sports?
It doesn't, I don't really have a list of what events. I'm guessing they're going to try to mirror the real Olympics as close as possible so they can say, look, our sprinter is this much faster. Our shot put thrower can throw it that much further.
I totally disagree with the concept that they are going to find other people around the world who will be better at those events just because they're enhanced with drugs.
Right.
I just, there's no way that you're going to find faster human beings around the world than the ones that are competing in the Olympics.
He said they'd focus on track and field, aquatics, gymnastics, weightlifting, and combat competitions.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
Like that karate dude from the last Olympics.
Do you imagine how much harder he would have kicked his head off if he was on juice?
Oh, my word.
Oh, my word. They claim here in the story I don't know if they name the individual, but they claim they've got a dude who's faster than Usain Bolt. They say this guy's broken Usain Bolt's 100-meter record. He's unlocked his body's true athletic potential by using steroids, whatever it is.
I'm sorry, that sounds like BS. I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to apologize. This all sounds like BS, Randy.
Yeah, that's just, I'm not buying it.
What do they call it now? PEDs.
By the way, I'm not interested in it either.
You don't want to see, I mean, okay, I get it. But you don't want to see if a guy can just basically throw a shot put over the sun. You know what I mean? Some guy
I just don't think that's going to make that big of a difference in those events. I just don't. I don't think you're going to see these incredible performances. I think you're going to end up, if they pull this thing off, I think you'll end up being disappointed that it's not going to be what they think it's going to be.
Josh, do you have any ideas of what you might like to see at the enhanced Olympics?
Well, some of those combat sports sound pretty sweet. Oh, my God, he punched through his face.
No one wants to see enhanced rhythmic gymnastics?
Wapple, I'll take any type of rhythmic gymnastics.
North Medic Jesus said SNL did a skit about this years and years ago called the All-Drug Olympics. We'll have to look for that.
Yeah. Oh, I think I saw that. Was that back in the 70s? And I think John Belushi pretends to pull both of his arms out of the socket while attempting a deadlift. I think, and then blood is spraying out of the sides of his... Good God, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And, of course, there's all kinds of legitimate Olympic athletes here in this article appalled by this idea.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm surprised by that. They mention who, what did he win? 36 of those Tour de French bicycle races, and then he was stripped of his medals. They mention him in here. You know, he's been vilified. You know, they kind of defend Lance Armstrong. So you guys, do you think ESPN 2?
Well, that was more, Lance Armstrong was more blood doping than it was a steroid use,
okay,
right?
I don't remember. But it was, all of that falls under the umbrella of enhancements, right?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
You don't think ESPN 2 will pick this up and televise?
I don't know if they will.
No, I doubt they will. No way. But that's a hell of an idea. The enhanced Olympics. Now, like Randy, what you were saying a minute ago, I agree with. They're overstating what steroids can do for an athlete. Mm-hmm. They're overstating it. You can't just take steroids and next thing you know, you can dry hump a school bus across town. You know.
All right, I want my money back.
What it does is
you just disappointed Wapple. He thought you could dry hump a school bus across town.
Wapple's the guy that got in trouble for something like that.
Now, that was dry humping in a school bus.
Oh, you just shattered his dream. Darn it.
Steroids, and again, I'm no expert, but it's about recovery. You know, I've always thought that steroids, steroids are overstated in all sports. And people think, I mean, Barry Bonds is a good example. I mean, Barry Bonds did take some amount of talent into the game.
You think?
Yes, they didn't just pump him full of steroids, and now he's hitting 75 home runs a year.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be the same with these Olympians, right? I'm positive they're good athletes.
Exactly.
You know, and then maybe just couldn't make the actual Olympics.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think they'll grab Wapple. Who's the guy dry humping that bus over there? Get him on our team.
He's our next shot putter.
Just pelvic thrusting a school bus from county to county.
I could see you making the news for that.
I took steroids. Yesterday, I was a board op at a radio station. Now, I'm a world record school bus dry humper.
I humped this across 2 counties.
And more, I mean, just wacky stories here that I don't follow this NIL deal at all. The name and likeness thing, I don't have it. I still to this day have no idea what it means or what it does for a young athlete. But I'm reading it. A 9-year-old kid has landed a 6-figure name, image, and likeness deal with a sports agency.
Okay.
I don't know what they're going to do with him, put him in TV ads for Wheaties, or I have no idea what any of this means, but he's a 9-year-old kid. He is from Snoop Dogg's Youth Football League.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think that would be cool also to be a part of Snoop Dogg's.
I think it's pretty legit.
I was just in the Egan Athletic Association. Saying you're in Snoop Dogg's league would have been a lot cooler.
Yeah, it is legit. I mean, they cite Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver in the NFL. He was part of Snoop Dogg's Youth Football League years ago. So this is some 9-year-old kid. I guess he was the MVP of Snoop Dogg's Football League, and now he's going to have $1 million in his pocket. I don't know. Kid's 9, you know.
Well, what possibly could he be endorsing for 6 figures?
Like I said, breakfast cereal, I don't know, tennis shoes?
Yeah, shoes, apparel.
But, I mean, don't you really have to kind of know who the person is in order for that to be effective? I don't.
I'm guessing this company that he's signed with, they're going to make sure we know who he is. They're going to.
I got you.
Some dramatic ad will all make us say, wow, this is the next Bo Jackson. You know, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't follow it. Oh, for you hockey fans at the NHL awards ceremonies in Nashville last night, you know, they hand out the awards after they wrap up the old cup. Connor McDavid won the MVP Hart Trophy. He is the 9th 3-time MVP in NHL history. And they'll hand you one of those when you put up 153 points in a season, which is what he did last season.
Yes, he's very much deserved.
I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but McDavid also took home the NHL's most outstanding player. So they got an MVP and they got a separate trophy. What is it? The Ted Lindsay Award for the most outstanding player. He's now won that trophy 4 times. Only Wayne Gretzky has won the Ted Lindsay Award, which used to be the Lester B. Pearson Award. Only Wayne Gretzky has won it more than Connor McDavid. Oh, the Norris Trophy. I always follow that one. The best defenseman, Erik Karlsson of the San Jose Sharks. Here we go. Los Angeles Kings forward, Anze Kopitar. The Lady Byng Trophy for sportsmanship and gentlemanly conduct. Last guy I want on my hockey club. Last guy I want on my hockey club is a guy that's going to take home the friggin' sportsmanship award. Let's get back to the MVP trophy, the Hart Trophy. So I mentioned that Connor McDavid, the 9th player to win that trophy 3 times. Wayne Gretzky won it 9 times.
Dang.
Amazing.
Gordie Howe, 6 times MVP, 6 times. Eddie Shore, old-time hockey. You guys know Toe Blake, Eddie Shore.
Don't need to tell me about him.
Eddie Shore won it 4 times. I'll just roll through there's some names I'm sure you don't know. A guy from the 20s from the Montreal Canadiens named Howie Morenz, 3-time MVP. You know who else was a 3-time MVP? Bobby Orr. You know who else? Bobby Clark. Nasty sumbitch.
Yeah.
Mario Lemieux. Alexander Ovechkin. Connor McDavid, like I already mentioned, 3-time winners. Two-time winners. I'll just get to the guys that you've heard of. Jean Beliveau of the Montreal Canadiens. Bobby Hull, Stan Mikita, Phil Esposito, Guy Lafleur, Mark Messier, Calvin Portner, Dominic Hasek, and Sidney Crosby. Two-time winners, that whole group.
Huh. Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't hear Yager anywhere.
You didn't hear Yager. He had
He's
to
kind
have
of overshadowed by Crosby, though, wasn't he?
Well, Lemieux, he played with
Lemieux, rather. Sorry, yeah.
Well, Yager had to have won it once.
Yeah.
He had to have won it once. Somebody looked that up.
I'm looking it up.
Jaromir, by God, Wu, Mean Gene Yager. Some other things happened that weren't that thrilling. I don't know. The Bruins traded Taylor Hall to the Chicago Blackhawks. Word is
they're setting up Bedard.
Yeah, they want someone with some puck skills to play with that Bedard dude who will likely be the number one. Exactly, Randy Shaver. The Atlanta.
Tomorrow night, the draft, right? Tomorrow night, first round.
Is it tomorrow or Thursday? I don't remember.
I think it's tomorrow.
I'm going to go with it.
Yager had an MVP. He also, the outstanding player, he won that 3 times as well. Scoring champion 5 times.
Remember that story from a few years ago, and Yager was like 44 years old, and he brings a 19-year-old model back to his place, and they allegedly made love. Right? You following this so far?
Yeah.
And then she wakes up, and she takes her cell phone, and she takes a overhead shot of the two of them lying in bed the next morning. This is a story I heard. And then she leaves, and then she contacts Yager and says, if you don't give me money or something, I'm going to show everyone this picture. And Yager says, go ahead. I'm going to be talking about it all day today, too.
I'm actually in the locker room telling the boys.
Yeah. What do you mean? Unless you give me money, you're going to show what? So what?
A lot of them don't believe me. Put the picture out.
Are you not following how a scam works here?
Yager's going, why didn't I think of that? I should have taken the picture.
Yeah, we should have had a photographer here the whole time. The Atlanta Hawks traded John Collins to the Utah Jazz.
Well, that's a move for them to create salary space because I think he's got 3 years left and the money's just huge.
He's making a lot of money. Good player.
The Wolves talked about trying to figure out a deal for John Collins. It never worked out, but
I remember hearing that many times. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Like I said, there's not a hell of a lot else going on. Rudy Gobert is going to go play for the French at the FIBA World Cup, whatever that is. Anthony Edwards is going to play for the United States in that tournament. I don't follow these international tournaments, but it'll be...
I thought I saw where Wembanyama turned it down, decided not to play.
Right, he's not going to play for France. Okay, so cool for A1. I guess this is worth mentioning because we love A1 from Damon. I hope to learn to love Rudy Gobert. We love Anthony Edwards. He's going to play for the U.S. I bet that's a big thrill for him.
I'd be A1 from day one.
It's his first international appearance, from what I understand. Wembanyama and Gobert are going to compete together for France at the Summer Olympics. I wonder what they'll look like together.
So speaking of that, have you seen the picture that was out on Twitter of Wembanyama standing with David Robinson and Tim Duncan?
Yeah.
Have you seen this picture?
Yes.
Those guys all look like they're point guards.
At first,
it's
honestly,
amazing.
I thought he was posing with fans
seriously.
when I looked at it for the first time.
I had to blow it up and look at it to see their faces because I thought they look like they're tiny little guys standing next to him.
Yeah. And
it's amazing how big he is.
I remember the first time I saw David Robinson play in person. And not that it was his... I mean, he was certainly a tall guy, of course. David Robinson had muscles on full display that I didn't even know existed on the human body.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just a specimen,
An absolute specimen. And... yeah, it's insane.
Shocking, though. It's just shocking that, I mean, he looks taller than 7'4" compared to those guys. It's just like, wow.
What is he again, 7'4"?
He's 7'4".
5'4"?
7'4", 7'5".
All right. Wembenyama.
Wow.
Finally, Randy Shaver, 2 Minnesota teenagers have won this year's National High School Fishing Championship.
That's cool.
Well, fabulous. We're the state of fishing.
Yeah, you know what? We should be. I would prefer that slogan over that stupid state of hockey slogan.
What school was it?
Pardon me?
What school was it, that one?
They went to Cambridge Isani, these kids. They go to, or went to, what time of year is it? The school's out. I forgot.
That's awesome.
Zachary Peischer of Cambridge and Cole Sembler of Dalbo represented Cambridge Isani High School at the championship, which was held on the Mississippi River in La Crosse, Wisconsin. They caught some big bass, and they won the state title. They'll each receive a $5,000 scholarship to a college of their choosing.
No way.
I have a question.
That's incredible.
I know. I have a question for both of them. Do you have any interest in attending the University of Minnesota, and can you play basketball as well?
That's pretty impressive.
The high school or college fishing team, man. What a blast that must be.
Oh, I know.
Well, it's probably similar to what they would have in Colorado with the ski team, or, different places across the country that have outdoor sports that they're known for. It only makes sense that you would have a fishing team in Minnesota, right?
Yes.
Because you can fish year-round in Minnesota. That's the beauty of it.
That probably would have helped me stay out of trouble if I was in some type of fishing club in high school.
Yes, absolutely. Me too. We never had a friggin' fishing team.
No.
If we had one, we probably would have ruined it. We would. Because
true.
Right,
you know
Ashley?
what?
Yeah, I would have been drinking beer.
You lived in Wayzata. You would have hired a fishing team. What are you talking about?
You're correct. Many fishing trips I made as a young kid, I didn't even know who owned the boat. The rich were afforded certain things. You're right about that.
Yeah.
But Ashley,
exactly.
if you were been on the high school fishing team, I'm picturing the 5, 6, 7 guys that would have made our high school fishing team. We would have gotten drunk and crashed the boat on day one.
Yep.
We would have ruined it.
Ashley, you'd be selling Jell-O shots out of a fish house somewhere for sure.
Just got a text from somebody that says, Nick can shut his dirty whore mouth. We are the state of hockey. Again, I don't dislike, of course, obviously, I don't dislike hockey. And the slogan isn't terrible. It's what some of us have done with the slogan that irritates me. We have this new chip on our shoulder ever since that became a thing. Some of us. Well, we are the state of hockey. The way Texas people talk about football and
right.
You know what I'm talking about? Like we're entitled to certain things because, we are the state. That's where my skin crawls.
Right.
We haven't even brought home a Stanley Cup lately, and we're the state of hockey. Stop talking like that. You sound like a douchebag from Detroit.
You mean Hockey Town?
There you go.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Hockey Town. We are. Well, you guys have won a bunch of cups lately. Well, yeah, we're Hockey Town. Randy, don't go. What's their slogan in Cleveland? What are they bragging about in Cleveland?
They've got a song about Cleveland.
Fun times.
Yeah. Fun times in Cleveland today.
That's right.
I'm
going to experience some of that today.
Randy, thanks for calling us again on your ball and chain All-American road trip. We look forward to hearing from you tomorrow and find out where you'll be going tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right, brother, man. Thank you very much. We'll return here in a second on the Half-Ass Morning Show.
You're listening to the radio. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
CJ Ham for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. When I'm on the field, I can take anything. But at home with my family, we like everything to be comfortable. That's why I trust the pros at Standard. They've been keeping Minnesotans like me comfortable for over 90 years.
Is your cooling system making strange noises or not cooling properly? Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Right now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text FLOW, FLOW, FLOW to 651-989-9393 for a shot to win a 4-pack of tickets to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show Booze Cruise. The Booze Cruise is this Friday, June 30th in Stillwater. Tickets furnished by Stillwater River Boats, sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. This keyword is good today, June 27th until midnight.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, we're back on the program ski. Thank you so damn much. We appreciate you listening to this nonsense. It's 8:35. We were rapping earlier about hell raising on the job. I had these warehouse gigs when I was a young kid, and that's all we did was raise hell and bust balls and destroy things and fight each other up. And it was just madness. Josh had the same experience on a landscaping gig. Hell raising on the job, having fun with your coworkers, all those kinds of shenanigans. We also talked about effing up on the job terribly, where you cost your company money and obviously you cost yourself some pride. I know Josh has some examples of that. Real quick, before I turn things over to Cubby, I've got an example of some hell raising on the job from Long Storyteller Jesus. Tell me what you think of this. Warehouse job. He said one of us would lie on the ground and put shrink wrap over our face. Okay?
Yep.
Okay. The shrink wrap over your face.
I'm picturing it, yep.
The other one would go up on a cherry picker about 16 feet up in the air. And then the guy on the cherry picker would hawk a big loogie. And drip it down onto the other one's face with the shrink wrap covering it.
Why?
Yeah, I'm trying to think the why.
The creativity is, I mean, that's brilliant. That's why.
You're not embracing the creativity?
That's gross.
The brilliance of that?
I don't see what's gross about it.
What part is gross?
The guy spitting on the other guy, he's got cling wrap on his face.
Oh, you can make it even better. Make a target on the cling wrap.
Look at you, always improving things.
Yeah.
Architect Jesus had a project to design. He had to do an indoor pool, and he learned during construction the water slide wouldn't fit. The client had spent $40,000 to restructure the roof to make it work, and they were pithed. He said his boss wrote a check to fix the mistake, and he kept his job. That's good. This text says a guy at work does a job change out on a machine, forgets to clean out the previous material from stainless steel to carbon steel. Parts got mixed up, cost the company $2.5 million in lost product, time, and future job orders. He still works there. This person worked at a construction at a new high-rise downtown, accidentally left a water valve just slightly open, and it flooded finished condos 4 floors down. Cost $200,000 in damages.
Jeez.
Just one more twist of that knob, he would have been off the hook.
Just barely open.
Just left her dribbling a little bit.
Straight Pipe Jesus worked with a guy at a BMW dealership. On his second day, he left a car door open in the wash, ripped the door off. A buddy of mine, he cost Borton Volvo 3 engines because he was a lube tech and he'd forgot to put the drain plugs back on.
The drain plug.
3 times, but he was such a well-liked guy, he was able to keep his job. Bubba Man Jesus had a semi-driver attempt to go under a railroad on Railroad Bridge, Broadway Avenue in North Minneapolis. The height of the bridge is 13 feet 1 inch. The semi-trailer was 13 feet 6 inches. Did significant damage to the trailer. The next week, he went under the same bridge, but in a different lane because he thought the result would be different.
Oh,
no. This person says their work crew tore out the wrong driveway. Finisher Jesus said guy I work with burned the company down to the ground. $10 million it cost, but he kept his job.
Accidentally burned the whole building
down.
down.
Whole place down, yeah. Little Squirt Jesus, I drove a van right into a cardboard compactor, scraped the whole side of the van. First week at my new job. He was able to keep it, though. This person used to work at a pizza restaurant. They'd make their own dough to portion out all the pizza sizes and breadsticks.
Fun.
He cut his finger, and standard procedure was to put a Band-Aid on and then wear a glove. We made a batch of dough. We were portioning out all the sizes. When we were almost finished, I realized the glove had broken and the Band-Aid was gone.
Oh, no.
So we had to throw away the entire batch, which was about $3,600.
I've seen that happen at restaurants I've worked at.
They lost the Band-Aid?
Yep, or they just ended up bleeding on everything, and so just to be safe, you got to toss it all.
Yep.
Don't want to kill anybody.
I once had a sandwich maker at a sandwich shop try to create me a turkey, cheese, and plasma sandwich.
Oh.
Their hands, I imagine, were so cold from dealing with, all the refrigerated meats all day long that I watched them cut a wicked slice into their hand and then continue making my sandwich. They never noticed it until I said, I don't want any blood on my They looked down and said, oh, Christ almighty.
That last text from Minnesota floor sanding Jesus. And then finally from gear grinding truck driving Jesus. He works for a heavy haul set. He says company was on a job in Wisconsin. They were guided in by a worker. His field tank had freshly set fire hydrant, and he dumped 100 gallons of fuel on the ground and into the well. Cost his company around $80,000.
F-ups are going to happen.
Yep.
Everybody F's up. Except for that one douchebag that no one likes on the job.
Yeah.
Where everyone else is an idiot, but that person?
Yeah, they'll never admit to an F-up. There's always one douche on every job that won't admit that they, have F'd up or have the potential to F up. But the rest of us, it's going to happen. That's fun stuff. Thanks for texting in those stories.
Yeah, thank you for these. These are great. They're still coming in.
To the brother and the sister, by God. Hood. All right, so Taylor Swift came to town over the weekend, causing thousands of people to collectively fall down and molest themselves. Hundreds of thousands of people went to see her live program over there at the new Metrodome. So obviously her fans are very loyal. Which artists or bands have the most loyal fan bases? You want to throw something at me? You got any artists or bands in mind that you think have the most loyal fan bases?
BTS.
BTS number one.
Mm-hmm.
BTS.
They can create a movement on Twitter within seconds.
Yeah, I am terrified to ever say anything negative about that fan group.
Fan group, fan base. Okay, I know you guys have explained this to me before. At least I'm fairly sure you have. Who is BTS?
K-pop group.
It's a Korean pop band.
Yeah, Korean pop group.
Okay, and they're wildly popular?
Wildly popular globally.
Would you guys know any of their songs?
Nope. Not a one.
Nope. I saw them perform on SNL once, and they actually were really cool. I was kind of amazed. I was like, wow, I kind of dig this actually. Their choreographed dancing and the way that it's just cool.
All right, so you're all saying BTS.
Yes.
Science has broken this down. All right. A new survey.
Thank you, science.
Of course. A new survey asked fans a bunch of questions like how far they'd be willing to travel for a concert, how much they'd be willing to pay for tickets. And we heard a lot of stories when that Taylor gal was in town about how much tickets were, and people were selling them secondhand for thousands. Fans were also asked whether they would take money from their savings to see a show. So they turned this into a system that rated bands and artists. Well, I should be more specific. They turned this into a system that rated people's fandom on a scale of 0 to 100. All right. So with all that, they determined the top 10 fan bases, the most loyal fan bases. I'll go 10 to 1 for you. At number 10, I know I've heard the name, but you folks would have to fill me in otherwise. Harry Styles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's very popular.
That's big. He used to be a part of One Direction. It was like a boy band.
Sure. Harry Styles. Any big fans here?
I enjoy his music. Stuff I've heard. He's a talented kid.
He's got a cute face. That helps.
I'm good.
Purchased a couple of his posters for my
Did you?
Stepdaughter in the day, yeah.
At number 9, the most loyal fan bases, Eminem has got some loyal fans.
Oh, yeah. That's the reason why I hate Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
Because of Eminem's beef with Machine Gun Kelly?
Yeah. That's all it took. And I was like, nope, dead to me.
What did you say out loud, Josh?
Because the two of them weren't getting along.
Oh, no, you shouted a term or something.
Beef?
Did you say stands?
Stands, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Super fans. That's an Eminem thing, right?
Yeah,
yeah. His fans.
Song called "Stan" about a overly obsessed fan who goes crazy, and so that became a term then for hardcore fans. Are called stans.
Sure. Okay, like a Deadhead or a.
The Onion Ring from my band, The Green Onion, back in high school.
At number 8, Beyonce.
Sure, she's got the beehive, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. I'm excited to find out any more of these little slogans for fan bases. Beyonce is rated, or at least her fans are rated, as the 8th most loyal. Number 7, you have to help me out. Now, I've never heard this before. Lana Del Rey.
Oh, yeah. She's very, very good.
I really like her a lot, but I never really knew that she had a big fan base.
Kind of like, I don't know how I would describe her music. It's kind of like folklore-y. Is that?
Folklore?
I think it's noted for its cinematic quality and exploration of tragic romance, glamour, and melancholy.
You knew that off the top of your head,
Perfect.
Right?
Yeah. I couldn't have phrased it better myself.
Another loyal fan base here at number 6, Queen. I love Queen. I will annoy you to no end, up and down, if you give me the chance, about how highly I respect that band. To me, there was there's no 4 bandmates as talented, maybe in the history of music, as when you put together Roger Taylor, John Deacon, Freddie Mercury, and Brian May. That is probably, in my opinion, the most talented group of 4 individuals that ever started a band.
Well, so some of the criteria they said, would you travel 600 miles to see them? Queen.
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I want to see where you are in your fandom.
Absolutely not.
You would not? Okay.
No, I'm too old for all of that stuff.
Would you go into debt to see them?
No.
You wouldn't go into debt.
No. But maybe when I was 20 years old.
It'd be a different answer?
Totally different answer. Totally different. And now I don't care to damn near anybody. I mean, even bands like Iron Maiden and things like that, of course, I'm excited to go see them, but I'm still going to tell myself, quietly to myself, I'm going to say, I'm going to be out so late tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things have changed, but when I was a young kid, I'd have a very different answer.
Wood Grinding Jesus said his coworker talked to someone downtown at the Taylor Swift show that flew in from Florida to buy her daughter a sweatshirt from the concert.
Oh, my God.
From the Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah.
Half-assed morning show 93X.
Absolutely wonderful. Here we are. It is now up to 8:54 on the 93X Half-assed morning show. So we got a few more minutes to jaw jack. We were talking about scientists. Scientists.
Fake.
Scientists developed a system that rated people's fandom. So they put together this and they put together that, and they settled on a list of 10 artists or bands with the most loyal fan bases. Most loyal. We went 10 through 6, according to these scientists. Harry Styles, Eminem, Beyonce, Lana Del Rey, and Queen are 10 through 6. Very loyal fan bases there. Let's roll through the top 5. You know, things like these fans would be willing to go long distances to see these folks in concert. They'd be willing to pay piles of money. They'd even take money from their savings to see a show. These are some of the things that were factored in this top 10. Number 5, the loyal fans of Taylor Swift.
Only 5, huh?
Okay.
Maybe that'll change soon.
Taylor Swift. You love her? Anyone love her?
I absolutely love her. I'm definitely loyal. I don't like when people say anything bad about her.
Don't flip out. I just don't know her.
It's okay. It's okay.
4 is Lady Gaga.
Surprised she's higher than Taylor Swift.
Little Monsters. They're very passionate too.
That's what they're called?
Yeah,
That's
Little
cute.
Monster. And then Lady Gaga's called Mama Monster. Or Mother Monster.
3 kind of surprised me. I mean, not that I'm unfamiliar with this guy's track record. Elton John.
I wonder if it's because his fans have bucks.
They're rich.
You know?
Yeah.
Older, probably. You know, at this point, probably have some expendable income.
There you go.
I didn't expect to see too many older artists on this list because, like I was explaining to Josh earlier, Josh asked me, because of my massive fandom for Queen, would I travel long distances? Would I spend lots of money? And the answer is no, and it's simply because of my age. I've do you see what I'm saying?
I really wouldn't either.
Young people are more apt to, my God, we're going to travel all the way across the country to see this band. I mean, I did once make road trips once or twice in my life to see my favorite bands. At my age now, I'm just not making that effort. I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars or get on an airplane to see, Kiss or one of these, because it's just, I've done it, and I'm not that enthusiastic about anything anymore in my life. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. I can't imagine going into debt to see a concert.
So I didn't expect to see too many older artists on here. I was surprised by Elton John. Number 2, Michael Jackson's fans. Second most loyal. Number 1, you guys guessed it a long time ago. Whatever it means to be BTS. They have the most loyal fans. BTS is number 1. Mike, I got a question about Mike Jackson fans. Do they just not talk about all the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Do they just avoid that subject?
The allegations?
The allegations?
Yeah.
If I'm amongst Mike Jackson fans, should I not bring any of that? Like, hey, what do you think was going on with Mike? Should I not even bring that up?
It's like an unwritten rule.
Because, Mike was he was a different kind of a guy.
Yeah, he really was, wasn't
I
he?
noticed that. I did notice that.
I picked up on that.
I'm surprised the Biebs isn't on there.
Yeah,
Justin Bieber.
Well, he kind of tanked a little.
But even so.
What happened to Biebs? How did he tank?
He's just I don't know. He became kind of an a-hole for a while, and now he's married to somebody that a lot of girls don't like.
Ashley, everyone on this list is an a-hole.
They're famous people. Of course they're a-holes.
Every rock star and musician we could possibly have a conversation about is an a-hole.
I guess I'm just surprised. I mean, I would have thought he'd be on a list like this for sure.
I thought Grateful Dead fans, Deadheads, would be on there.
See, Wapple, I think that falls into line with what I was saying about older fans of older bands. We're not going to spend thousands. We're not going to travel.
But that was the thing about Deadheads, is that they would travel cross country with the band.
It used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be.
Even Tool fans nowadays, they're huge.
I thought Tool would be on the list.
Yes. And then Juggalos, Insane Clown Posse.
They're very passionate.
Yeah,
it's small but passionate.
I mean, where's Britney Spears, Britney Fox, Sleazebees, Foo Fighters? Where are those bands?
Yeah, Sleazebees.
It's funny you bring up Tool. I got a text message. From Droppin' Doses with Jesus. He says Tool has very loyal fans, which is hilarious because Tool sucks.
Oh, man, there are people in this building, and then our friend Jordan Parisi, who would drive to someone's house that said something like that.
Yeah, but I think older bands with older fans aren't going to register very well on this because we just don't have the energy or the excitement about it that we used to. That's why I think you don't see Kiss on this list. I mean, Kiss fans are insane.
You've already spent a lot of money on that band at this point.
Iron Maiden, Metallica, AC/DC, Zeppelin, the Beatles, Rush. I think that's why you don't see. They're just not a Slayer. A couple people brought up via text, brought up Jimmy Buffett and Weird Al Yankovic.
Parrot heads.
Yeah.
Oh. Weird Al friggin' Yankovic fans, I mean.
Yeah, those are definitely the kind of bands and artists that if somebody just doesn't like them, they love them. There's no in between.
Right. You're either all in or you just don't care.
Well, Weird Al, yeah. I mean, you go to a Weird Al show and so many fans, they know what to do at what time. They know all the words to all the
synchronized.
songs.
It's crazy.
Cool.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
Thanks for your text.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're really excited about this. We are partnering with Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. We're going to spotlight the faces of Minnesota's military, where you tell us about a deserving veteran or active duty service member at 93x.com, and we'll share their stories on air each week and make a donation to Folds of Honor in their name. So go to 93x.com. We're excited to get this thing going. Now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text the word DRIFT, D-R-I-F-T, DRIFT, to 651-989-9393. You get a shot to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Booze Cruise this Friday in Stillwater, furnished by Stillwater Riverboats, sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. Happy Sweet 16th to Claire from Dad, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.